the Redskins. The 13. It got worse. It was fumble, stumble, and fall. And the Eagles were not going back to the Super Bowl. The Redskins started out losing their first 5 games in the regular season. And injuries, they showed up at almost every position. First-year coach Joe Gibbs, though, pared down his Sandy Philadelphia at all. And so today, before 72,000 sold out at Veterans Stadium, 2 teams on a teeter-totter. One going up, one going down. Stick around and see which one.
Redskins against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Philadelphia, and it is hot. It's 82 degrees up here in the booth, so that means 92 to 95 down on that new AstroTurf on the field below. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Brookshire, along with Wayne Walker, and I want to welcome Wayne back to CBS, number 55 with the Detroit Lions, a great linebacker for 15 years, and we've been through a few opening games. The coach says, we need 16 in a row to win these titles and all, but is it different? Is the opening game different than the other ones?
Something special about this one, I think, always, Brookie, and it's nice to be back. We talked to both coaches yesterday. Dick Vermeil said he'd like to treat it like another game. He doesn't want to put all his eggs in the opening game basket, because if he would lose it, he wouldn't want his team to go into a 2 or 3 week fold because of it. Joe Gibbs thought it was especially important for his young team to win this one, get off on the right foot, start a winning attitude in Washington.
Well, Vermeil is more unsure than I've ever seen. Usually he's a swashbuckler, but he doesn't know about intensity. They're a very quiet practicing team, which can either be real good or real bad, and I really don't think he knows how good this team is. Now, Gibbs sort of feels differently about that.
Well, they both got questions. They really do. Dick Vermeil wants to know if he's got a hungry team. He is not sure of its intensity. He doesn't know whether he's got the team that started the season or the team that lost 5 of their last 6. Joe Gibbs got a young, hungry team. He's concerned about their defense. Can they stop Wilbert Montgomery today would be the primary thing, and he wants to know if that carryover value of the 8-3 finish will hold forth this afternoon. We're just about ready to find that out.
Okay, Wayne, Tony Franklin is looking at the football. The young father, his lovely lady, just had a baby boy the other day. I guess he was born with one booty. We don't know that for sure, but he's called Sean Patrick. And young Mike Nelms, number 21, the league's best return man, is back waiting for the kickoff by Tony Franklin. The season is underway. It's a deep kick, 5 yards deep in the end zone. Nelms up the right sidelines. Nelms to the 24 and knocked down by number 98, Brown. Good coverage job by the Eagles, and they hold Nelms, who averaged 30 yards a return, to under his average of a year ago. It is hot, though, and a beautiful new AstroTurf surface. That baby's about 3 inches deep down there, and it is almost good enough for a practice field. The pros like it.
I'll tell you what, though, Brookie, it's hot, and it's going to be hot on the players, but they're in better shape coming out of training camp for this opening game than they will be any time of the year.
They're in better shape than we are. I hope that, anyway. It's a 1st and 10 now. Watch the 2 tight end offense and the single back. Riggins is a single back. Theismann throws. Knocked away as John Bunny got his hand up and spiked the ball, intended for number 84. Here's the Redskin offense. Joe Theismann, the quarterback, had 20 interceptions last year, but 19 touchdowns. Riggins, the big guy at fullback. Charlie Brown, an unknown but good-looking potential quantity. Art Monk and Mike Williams, the tight end. Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic, May, and Stark. That's a good offensive line. And the other tight end is Don Warren. 2nd down and 10. High formation hand. Riggins behind the line of scrimmage. Looked like Lamaster, number 55, and maybe Kenny Clark in on the tackle. The Eagle defense, the very best against points a year ago, and actually over the last 5 years, Will.
They've been around together a long time, Brookie. You're going to see a lot of losses from a one-back offense, because the Eagles are going to get some penetration back there today.
That's sort of a short gain, ground time consuming offense anyway, isn't it?
It is.
All right, 3rd down and 10. The first one facing Joe Theismann at 82. We got a 4-down rush now. 4 rushing linemen. We'll set them in just a moment. So Theismann's got time to throw, going deep and overthrowing everybody. Might have thrown that one away.
Well, he was looking for his rookie, Mike Williams, the big tight end. As we said, they started out 2 tight end offense right there. Williams, Joe Gibbs likely used just exactly like Kellen Winslow is used by San Diego. He'll line him up, put him in motion. He'll end up anywhere, flanker, tight end, and running pass patterns out of the backfield. That time he had about a step, but Theismann overthrew him.
Well, he's big, too, at 248 for a tight end. Jeff Hayes, number 5, the rookie from Carolina. He averaged over 50 yards a punt on 5 punts against Cincinnati. Johnny Shara is back. Wally Henry is no longer the return man for the Eagles. Here's young Hayes. Oh, my gosh. This has got to be a 6-second hang time. That's one of the highest kicks I've ever seen. At the 34 is Shira. Back to the 30 to the 31. Good coverage by Washington.
Well, he's all they said he was from that first kick. They said that he may be about the best, one of the top 2 or 3 athletes on their team. A rookie out of North Carolina State.
A 43-yard punt, but that doesn't really tell you how high it was.
No.
Here's the Eagle offense. Jaworski coming off rather a disappointing year for him. Perry Harrington back in there at fullback. He's fast. Montgomery, 1,200 yards rushing plus. Ronnie Smith, the speed, and Harold Carmichael, the size at the receivers. Walters, Kenny, Morris, Baker, Jerry Sizemore, maybe the best pass blocker in football. And the tight end is John Spagnola. 1st and 10. A lone back situation for the Eagles. Now they slip back. It's a pro set. That's the eye. Jaworski drops back. 3 men out of the... and throws away from Ronnie Smith and behind. Smith trying to work on Jarris White. That was a tentative throw, wasn't it?
Well, it was. He looked out there, and the outside linebacker, number 57, Rich Millard, had gotten a pretty good drop, considering it was 1st and 10, and he was really in the passing lane. He had to throw it back behind.
A little pressure by Perry Brooks. We'll set that Redskin defense in just a moment. Jaworski's numbers for 81. They made the playoffs again, but the last 6 games of the year, the Eagles were not quite the same. They got Sid Gilman back to help the offense, and Ron seems to like that. Montgomery and Billy Canfield. Canfield, a lone back. He's out of the backfield, too, and the flags are down. Canfield catches it at the 40. Canfield to midfield, 49-yard line, but the flags are down.
Tommy, that one-back offense, like the Eagles showed that time, like Washington had before, really spreads the field out, and you're going to see a lot of that, guys turning up in the zones.
Looks like illegal procedure. Somebody didn't get set. Offsides. Carmichael. How are you offsides at 6'9"? Well, maybe it's easier then. Here's that Washington defense now. They have got to get a pass rush. Mendenhall moved to left defensive end. Big Dave Butts in the middle. Perry Brooks, the agitator, at right tackle. And Dexter Manley, the pass rusher, at right end. Coleman, Olkowitz, and Malott, the linebackers, pretty steady there. Coleman really fast. And the secondary, and they'll play a lot of man-to-man. The Banditos for Richie Pettibone's defense. Well, we didn't show you the secondary, but it's Jarris White and Lavender at the corners. And it's Peters and, of course, Mark Murphy, the big safety man at the safety spots. Here we are now. 2nd down and 15. Early in the first period, it's hot. One back offense. The draw play. That's Harrington, Perry Harrington. Harrington gets to the 46-yard line. A little quick trap move, and he does have good speed.
Key block as we look at it again by Steve Kenny, the right guard. Look at him right here. Set up, come on through, take on the linebacker, and open it up.
An 18-yarder. Good block on Olkowitz, as you said, by Kenny, the big kid from Clemson. Harrington broke his foot or an ankle last year against these same Redskins, and he's eager to get back playing again. He's got some speed. Canfield is back in the backfield. Vito Cab, another tight end, is in there. 2 tight ends on the field. In motion with Smith, weak side toss to Wilbert Montgomery. Wilbert gets to almost midfield. Monty Coleman driving him out. Wilbert's had some great 4-touchdown days against the Redskins. They figure they have to sort of close him down early.
Well, they felt they had to do it early. Joe Gibbs said yesterday in that meeting we had with him that he was scared to death of Wilbert Montgomery getting about 40 yards in the first quarter and then turning it into about a 150-yard day.
He's like a thoroughbred racehorse. He didn't do much during preseason, but you bring him out on race day and you can't get him back in the barn. It's a 2nd down and 8. 2 tight ends, Spagnola and Cam, the rookie inside. Quick out. A move to Ron Smith. Missed tackle by White, and Smith gets to the 40-yard line. Malott making the tackle.
Well, that'll show you what respect for speed will do. Jarris White covering Ron Smith and gave him about 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and then started his drop. Smith made the turn wide open. White came to close up and missed the tackle.
It's a big first down coming back from 2nd and 15 after an offsides. Smith has the good speed, and now looks like he's much more disciplined in his roots.
Well, he gives him a new dimension. Jaworski is happy to anybody in the world to have that kind of speed going along with Carmichael on the other side.
12-yard gain. Here's the quick toss back to Montgomery running left. A good block on the outside. Montgomery gets inside the 35. Murphy making the tackle. The safety man now is having to make tackles. That's a little dangerous, isn't it, Mr. Walker?
Well, it was, but a key block on that sweep that time by Big Harold Carmichael. Number 17, he's lined up wide out to the right of your screen. You'll see him come back and get a block, a legitimate crackback block right there on Malott, the outside linebacker.
Looked like Stan Walters may have come out from the tackle spot and gotten a pretty good cut down, too. Montgomery and Harrington in the backfield. Harrington moving back to make it a pro set, now back into an I. The deep guy is Montgomery. Second down and 4.5. Here's Montgomery. Ooh, he got hit hard. Perry Brooks and Rich Malott, the Penn Stater, standing him up and being rather nasty.
Well, Malott's seen a lot of action already in this ball game. They feel that he is just starting to mature as a linebacker. That's the bread and butter part of Philadelphia's I formation offense right there. Straight ahead blocking, and Montgomery fixed the hole, but there wasn't one to pick that time.
Of course, Brad Dusick, the great Redskin linebacker, is on injured reserve. Probably will not play again this season, but Malott's replacing him and doing a pretty good job. But you miss guys like Dusick. All right, here's the shotgun. The first time either team has used it so far. It's a third down play. Jaworski has a lot of time. He's going to the outside. And number 82, Mike Quick, the number 1 draft choice, makes a good reception, and somebody was hanging on.
That was number 1 draft choice against number 1 draft choice. Vernon Dean, number 32, who was the top draft choice for the Skins in there, working against Mike Quick, the number 1 draft choice for the Eagles, one-on-one, and it was a great throw by Jaworski. Pretty good coverage, though, Brookie. He was there when the ball was, but it was just a fine throw.
So one thing about Quick, they say he will catch it if you're leaning on. Not perhaps the fastest receiver coming out of college, but maybe one of the best. There's Dick Vermeil in the middle. Fellow on the right is Joe Pisarcik, who's signaling in. Perry Harrington. Montgomery of the backs. Straight drop, 3-step drop, and fired it to Smith on the outside, trapped at the 20. Pretty good looking move. Coleman moving back very quickly. Is there a flag down anywhere? I see one on the ground, and of course the obviously partisan crowd from Philadelphia doing a little bit of ooh and on.
Part of what Sid Gilman has done to this pass offense, you saw in that play right there. While they're talking this over, you've seen Jaworski already in this game take a 7-step drop, a 5-step drop, and that time just a 3-step drop.
Well, you love that 3-stepper. Quick release, no pressure, and seldom gets sacked. The officials for today's game, by the way, who obviously have it well under control. Freddie Wyatt, the referee, Tom Hensley, Tony Viteri, Wilson Gossier, Dick Hantak, Vince Jacob, and Chuck McCullum.
Block in the back, number 88.
7 officials for 7 brides. Remember, there used to be about 3 officials. Now there's 7. 1 for each player down there. Against the Eagles, huh? Little offensive shoving. Microphone's not working on Mr. Wyatt, but we'll try to work on that. Pushing. So now it's 1st and 15 on the 30. Montgomery Harrington, single back right now. Montgomery split out to the left side. Stays out there, toss. Back to Harrington, number 35. Gets a block from Baker, but it's quickly closed. He picks up about 2.5 yards and is sort of smothered over there.
Got an AstroTurf block over there on Jarris White that time. He started up on the force, Brookie, and stubbed his toe and went down. That's good turf out there, though, as you mentioned before. It is really springy. It's probably about the best that I've ever walked on.
I don't know how much it cost, but the players were coming bouncing out of the dressing rooms. Of course, everybody does on opening day. We'll see how everybody bounces out late November. And the frost has been on the pumpkin for about a month. Big play if the Eagles are going to get something out of the drive. 2nd down and 12. Split to the top of the screen. He stays there. Harrington's out in the flat. Jaworski with a lot of time now throws across the middle. Caught. Spagnola, I believe. John Spagnola from old Yale. Eli caught the ball. Good catch.
Spagnola, steady, dependable tight end, 6'4", 240. He's in his 4th year, and he doesn't get deep very often. That was medium range pass. Look at this time, though, that Jaworski has. A little bit of pressure from the outside, but he just stepped up a step and put it right on the shelf in there for Spagnola.
Sizemore and Walters, 2 good pass-blocking tackles, just took the rush around the corner and down the street. Spagnola, a free agent at one time, picked up from New England a few years ago. Leroy Harris, the fullback, is in the game for the first time. It's 1st and goal. Handoff to Montgomery behind Harris. Montgomery to the goal line, scores. Wilbert Montgomery has his first touchdown of 1982. The crowd will tell you.
Excellent job over on the left side of the offensive line by the Eagles. Stan Walters to tackle Steve Kenny, and look at the lead block by number 20, Leroy Harris. That was the key to get number 31, Montgomery, in the end zone.
Good blocking up front. Wilbert had 8 touchdowns all of last season. He gets his first in the first quarter of game number 1. Tony Franklin with the extra point hold. Held by Johnny Shara. Everything has been good so far. But it's early in the first quarter. Only 9:20 left in quarter number 1. And the Eagles draw first blood. Philadelphia 7, Washington nothing. 67 yards in 10 plays. 4:30. Now Tony Franklin kicking off. Mike Nelms standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. Ooh, the little man from Big Springs, Texas gets a good hanger this time at the goal line. Nelms he's got a good hold. Nelms is finally knocked out the 25 and the flags are falling. Ellis made the tackle. Flag was thrown right into a pile.
Nelms says he wants to score 7 touchdowns on special teams this year.
2,000 yards total?
2,000 total yards. That's like Ricky Henderson says he's going to steal a base a game. He came close. Nelms probably will too.
Led the league in doing the most dangerous thing I think in football, running it back.
Holding, number 55, first down.
Kaufman was detected for holding on that. Puts Theismann back inside his 15. Here's that 2 tight end offense. Only 1 back, and that's Riggins. Joe Washington obviously not here. Back in Virginia watching. Handoff to Riggins getting outside. Pretty good block by the tight end. And Riggins, the big running back, gets to almost the 20. Bunning making the tackle.
The tight end, Mike Williams, came in motion that time and led Riggins on that run. Williams will come across the formation clear from the other side. You'll see him right here leading the block and hitting John Bunning right there, standing him up, giving Riggins a room to get by.
Riggins has gone into a weight program and is quite a different athlete. He always was big and fast, but they said now he really feels like he's a boomer. Huh?
He's a horse.
Picked up almost 6 yards. Reverse motion by the tight end. Here's Riggins now going to the left side. Uh-oh, he's in trouble. Master, Carl Hairston, a host of Eagles that time, reading the play and getting a lot of penetration.
2 schools of psychology going out there on that play, Tom. That time the tight end came in motion, got to the middle, and then started back and went back where he was. And right before the snap, the Eagles on defense shifted to the right side right into that play.
Here comes the pass rushing defensive team.
Take a look now. You see the tight end stop. Go back where he was. Now watch the Eagles line. Watch him shift right over to where this play is going to be run. Good guesswork out there. Bunning's making the call, so he got him in the right spot.
Looked like a chorus line, didn't it?
Yes.
Back and forth. Dozy-do. 3rd down. And call it 6. Theismann straight back. He's got everybody out. A good throw and a catch. For 81. Steps out of. That's Art Monk, the leading receiver of the outside people last year.
Theismann with good time that time, Brookie, despite the fact that the Eagles came in there with their 4-man rush. Here's Art Monk. 3 years out of Syracuse. Their top choice 3 years ago. 894 yards on receptions last year.
It's the most since Charlie Taylor, I think, back in the late 60s. Good-looking play by Theismann, who's a very dangerous quarterback. The Eagles really respect the guy. The reverse. Fake inside. Monk has the ball. Monk with a little running room. Chased by Lamastra. Knocked out at the 36-yard line. But Breed guard Wilson also getting in on the play. Looked like the Eagles were fooled for a while on that one.
Well, Bunting is a hard outside linebacker to fool. He's exceptionally smart in there, and he was fooled for just about a step, but he recovered well, got some penetration, and forced the belly back, and that prevented that from being a big gainer.
Second down and short. We'll set that Eagle defense. We didn't get a chance to earlier. We've got Denny Harrison, Kenny Clark, and Carl Harrison, the down three on this. Robinson, LeMaster, John Bunting, and Chesley linebackers. Looked like somebody jumped, but there's no flag down. Wow, Riggins rambles to the 44-yard line. Bree Wilson making another tackle from safety.
Ran right over the top of the left side over there behind that left tackle, Joe Jacoby, that big second-year guy from Washington who is 300 pounds. He and Russ Grimm, the left guard, had a good hole that time for Riggins. Jacoby's pretty good story, Tom.
Yeah, they moved Maine out of right guard when they figured the big All-American from Pitt's going to be a really standout at guard. Huh?
Nobody drafted Jacoby. He had a hard time getting a job.
They didn't even want him. They thought he was a defensive lineman. He turned out to be a real stud at offensive tackle.
Glad they have him now.
First and 10 now. Riggins moving outside, bouncing outside, hit. Might have made a yard. Carl Harrison chasing from the backside of the play, making the stop.
Now, John Riggins, you just line him up, and he just keeps coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. He looked like a pinball machine that time. He'll bounce around and get hit 3 or 4 times. I'll guarantee you one thing, though, Tom, playing against this guy, he'll be coming that way in the fourth quarter.
That's the problem for defensive people, that he outweighs by about 30 pounds. By the fourth quarter, you're looking for some way to pull a hamstring. Second down. And 8, 6.5 left in the first quarter. It's a good quarter. Straight drop back to Riggins. Trapped by LeMaster behind the 40-yard line. Frank LeMaster had his man right in his crosshair sight.
You bet. A rare blitz that time by the Eagles. Bunting went from the outside. That means LeMaster will have the first back out on that side, and he was keyed in. Watch Bunting right at the right of your screen. He'll go in on the blitz. LeMaster slides over, so he'll take first back out. That would have been Bunting's responsibility. He's right in the middle of that quick screen.
And he beat the big tackle. I was looking for him to block him.
I'll tell you, look in there and see those big guys coming and get that shot of adrenaline. You will beat them.
Be first, if at all possible. Third down. And 14, caller, right on the 40. Eagles lead 7-0. 67-yard drive. Wilbert Montgomery scoring. Man in motion is Monk. He's going down the middle, going for Monk, who's wide open, and overthrow at the 30-yard line. Theismann laid it out there, and Art Monk, who had run right by Richard Blackmore, just had to watch it bounce.
Boy, Theismann would give anything to have that throw back again, because Monk had a step and a half on Richard Blackmore, who was in there on the nickel defense that time by the Eagles.
Good-looking play. May see that one again. Here's Young Hayes now, worried about getting 11 men on the field. Number 5 waits for it. Rookie from Carolina. Yeah, he can run with it at times. He did it in college. His last punt, the first one here today, was a 43-yarder. And it hung for an hour. Oh, this is just an average kick, but it won't get you hurt. Shara, fair catching, then getting away from it. Redskins will down it at the 36-yard line. It's a hot day. This one figures to be at a fever pitch very shortly. 7-0. Maybe even today. We don't know yet. First and 10. Fake inside handoff to Harrington. And Jaworski has a lot of time out. Montgomery's open. It falls down the 30-yard line. Wilbert Montgomery turned around and fought the ball a little bit, but he was wide open.
Play action fake on first down. Good call. As you see, Jaworski likes it. Rookie, the key to that, number 20, Joe Lavender, was on the coverage. He pulled a hamstring after about 3 steps. We may be able to pick it up in the replay. Watch over at the right of your screen for number 20, Joe Lavender here. He's on the coverage. He'll pull up short. Look at him right there holding his leg.
You're right.
Montgomery wide open.
Too. A 34-yard pass. That good run fake. The inside fake. And, of course, Joe Lavender, a very experienced cornerback, the former Eagle.
So Dervis White will move over to the right side, and the rookie Vernon Dean is now the cornerback on the left.
Both corners susceptible at this moment. First down at the 30-yard line. Eagles, quick drop. Jaworski goes back to the secondary receiver, and Spagnola can't hang on. One thing about Ron Jaworski, he never looks around for the second, third receivers. At least last year he had trouble doing it. He sure looked that time.
There's number 32. That's Vernon Dean, a young rookie, their second-round choice this year, who I think very highly of. Not quite ready to start, they said, but they wanted to bring him along slow, play him in the nickel defense. He's in there sooner than I expected, yes.
They throw the ball so much out there, you're almost a pro when you get here. Rams on top of Green Bay, up in Wisconsin, 7-0 in the first quarter. He's hit 5 of the 7. Now he's going back again for his 8th pass. Throws the flat to Harrington. It's a slip screen. He's got a blocker and gets to the 25-yard line. Jarris White making the tackle.
Excellent timing on that screen right there, Tom. Jaworski held that ball for a long time, and the guards and tackle came right out on time. The longer you can hold that ball back there on the screen, the better it sells.
How about the against man-to-man defenses, though? It's a little tough sometimes to screen to the back.
Well, if you got the linebacker on that back, it is.
They got out in front. The linemen were in pretty good shape. Baker out in front. Sizemore. 5-yard pickup. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 down at 25. 3:52 left in the first period. Quick in the game. And Carmichael to the bottom of your screen. Shotgun time. Jaworski being chased and gets out and is sacked. A yard short of getting back to the line of scrimmage. See who it is getting up there. Number 72. It's Dexter Manley.
But you can credit the pass coverage more than anything for that sack right there. Jaworski had some time initially. Looked downfield. Everybody was jammed up, doing a pretty good job on defense. Nowhere to go. He pulled it down and did the safest thing.
Manley got the inside. A good pass rush on Walters. So now Tony Franklin will try a 44-yard field goal. He's got a 59-yarder to his credit. But I think Dick would like to see more of these 44-yarders. Boy, it was big enough. It's good. Wow.
He hammered it.
The new daddy is kicking. With 3:01 left in the first period. The Eagles take advantage. Tony Franklin with his first field goal of the year. Mike Mills back to take it. On either side there is Wansley and Alvin Garrett. Here's the kickoff. At the 3-yard line is Nelms. Nelms, Mr. Dangerous on the return. The flag is down. Nelms is hit, fumbles at the 20, and there's a pile of players. The flag is down, though. There are flags down. The Eagles say they got the ball. The crowd says a lot, too. Helms couldn't get to the ground. They just kept him up and then began to take shots.
Place number 56 refused.
Reggie Wilkes, the linebacker, came up with the football.
It wasn't very good coordination that time between Nelms and his wedge. Look how far he is behind him. And watch Shara, number 21, come in from the left right here and force him away. Now that broke it up right there. That's where the clip was on. Now, theoretically, Nelms on the kickoff wants to be about 5 yards behind that wedge. That time he was about 10. And although it didn't mean much at the time, Shara getting in there and forcing him off his route created all that.
Created the whole thing. So Jaworski back with the ball again, deep in Redskin territory. At the 18. One back offense. Quickly to the outside, the screen to Harold Carmichael. A slip screen, picks up his blockers. The big fella stumbles and gets down to about the 12-yard line. Olkowitz hanging on.
Is Lavender back in there, Tom? Was that Lavender that came up on Carmichael that time?
Just seeing if he probably got it strapped up and he's...
I think it is. Yes, number 20 is back in there. I was just going to, remark. Yes, that is. On that play right there, they're going to do that at least once a half, aren't they? Get that ball to Carmichael on the quick screen out there with one blocker in front. There is Joe Lavender.
Oh, and tough to play with a pulled hamstring.
And he pulled it good from that replay we had. He reached back there and grabbed it with his hand.
But a steady player. He had a load that time. Carmichael goes about 230, 6 foot, 8.5. Spagnola in motion, toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. He's got a block. Wilbert fumbles the ball. It's being fought for, and Lavender, I believe, came up with a recovered fumble. Redskins have the ball. A good play, stripped by Olkowitz, and recovered by Lavender.
Well, the Eagles had a good thing going that time, too. Where do you see the block that Baker and Sizemore get over on the right-hand side? As those guys congratulate. We got Baker and Sizemore over in front of this ball carrier. Look what they're doing with Mendenhall right there. They've got him 8 yards downfield.
Boy, Olkowitz punched it right out, didn't he?
Olkowitz is tough. He wants to get to that football. He wants to get close to it every play. He's an overachiever, and you'll see a lot of him here this afternoon.
Or at least we feel here at CBS. All right, Joe Theismann with a big boost. the morale factor. Lavender's fumble recovery. The screen pass to the outside to number 87.
All right, roll.
That's Charlie Brown. Young man that was hurt the entire year last year from South Carolina State, and I have heard nothing but fantastic things about his ability. 4.4 speed, can jump out of the stadium. So small, the numbers go down inside the pants.
The most impressive remark about him, I thought, from my point of view, was the fact that when he hits the ground, you don't even hear it. Got to be light on your feet.
Monk is to the right, and Charlie Brown, the young man that we're talking about, to the top. Here's a single back. This time it's Wilbur Jackson, number 40 in the game now. Wilbur, the fellow that averaged, 7 yards running for Bear Bryant at Alabama. And he's got over a 4-yard average in this league. A very fine football player.
He has been a good one. He really has. When he came up with the 49ers as a rookie, he was Sporting News NFC Rookie of the Year. Had a fine year, 800 yards. That's when they were playing 14 games a season. I thought he was going to be one of the good ones in the league. And Rookie, he just, for some strange reason, after his second year, started having a problem hanging on to the football. And that's what concerns Joe Gibbs about him now. He says normally he'd be 1,000 yards a year.
Yeah. Well, I guess fumbles come and go too. Perhaps he's on a good roll. The pass is dumped to Warren. Number 85 took it, and boy, Joe Theismann is quick on his feet. Bernard Wilson making the tackle, a safety man. A 3rd and short, and Joe just read it and dumped it.
So he does. Watch him right here. Real short drop again. There's 3 steps. Got inside the linebacker bunting, and before Chesley could get over, Warren had the football.
That secondary is Herm Edwards at the right corner. Roynell Young, the number 1 draft 2 years ago, at the left. Logan and Bernard Wilson. First down and 10. Fake. Now he's going deep with it. This is trying for Brown up, but now Theismann decides to run with it. He's got some running room. Gets around LeMaster and slides to midfield. Jerry Robinson forced the slide, and there was no tag.
Well, this will do a lot of things right here. It's very demoralizing to a defense to play your defense to absolute perfection, get everybody covered, give the quarterback nowhere to go, and then he comes out of there and picks up a first down on you. Now, that not only demoralizes you mentally, what it does to you fatigue-wise is something else, because you get those big defensive linemen chasing a guy like this around on a hot day like today, and that takes a whole lot out of them, too.
13-yard gain, a guy that averages over 5 yards a carry, and he's the thrower. That's the end of the first quarter. They won't have to go far. Vermeil was here. The Eagles' defense has been about the best. Last year, they were best in yards given up and points, which is the most important
thing about him. I asked him what the strong point was, and he said, well, the fact that they've just been together a long time and are very good mentally, don't make mistakes. There's the 3 guys up front.
Harrison, Kenny Clark, John Bunny, Chesley, LeMaster Robinson in the secondary. There it is, Young Edwards, Logan and Wilson at the safeties. It is good. They know how to play. Wilbur Jackson getting to the line of scrimmage, and a lot of problems there as Harrison chased it from the far side and Kenny Clark from the nose. How much of a loss is Charlie Johnson, the all-pro nose guard that decided to go somewhere else and went to Minnesota? How big a loss?
I don't think so much, from an ability standpoint, but from what I understand, he was just a tremendously intense player. And when you lose someone like that off your defense, it might have a tendency to go down a little unless somebody can pick it up.
Claude Humphrey left too, the old veteran that sort of showed him how.
Good direction.
Okay, right now they've got their hands full. Theismann's moving them. It's 2nd down and 8 on the 48. He's back to throw, quick drop. He's screening to the right side. A waggle screen to the right to Warren, the tight end. Warren over the 40, makes a good run and is run out of bounds at the 38. Lee Harrison got in on the tackle. I don't know how, from the defensive end spot.
Here's Kenny Clark, the nose guard that we just talked about, that replaced Charlie Johnson. Look at the traffic in there. Look at him keep coming, though. Theismann looked left, threw that screen right that time. And Mark May, the number 1 choice a year ago, who was a tackle, they switched the guard, a fine block out there to help Warren pick up some added yardage.
Got 10 yards on it. Warren out of San Diego State. Of course, Joe Gibbs, the coach, not only played there, but has a lot of the players here on this squad from it. Here's the inside trap by the tight end coming back. Ball carrier is Johnny Riggins inside the 35-yard line. Boy, not much deception, but that's bringing the outside receiver back in the traps are rather different things.
Pretty critical timing on that, too, considering when you got to start that guy in motion and bring him back and get him at the right slot by the time you snap the ball. I think we've got a lot to think about up here. I think with Theismann has to get him started and get to the right snap point, count by the time that tight end gets in there to that spot to block.
Of course, that Big Williams is 248, so he's almost a guard or tackle anyway. It's 2nd and 5. Fake. Now he's got the big tight end blocking for him out in front. Dumps it to Williams. Williams, a rookie who doesn't act like it, spins inside the 30. Boy, he's a load. John Bunning hanging on.
He's involved in every play. The theory of that, Joe Gibbs says, is you get a great athlete like that, like Williams here at Kellen Winslow, why line him up a tight end or the linebacker and leave him there where the linebackers, the outside guys, and get their hands on him every play? You move him around, put him in motion, let him do some extra things, and use that great athletic ability. Here he comes now. He's going to block first for Theismann right here. He lost the block, but very alertly turned around and waited for the ball and look at him switch hands there. Brick and put it away.
Dennis Harrison almost had Theismann, and he just dumped it to his big tight end. Good idea. It's a 3rd down and short. Look out for Theismann on this. 1 back remaining. It's Riggins getting it, cutting back inside, looking for any hole, and finds it. He fumbles the football. They're going to rule it dead. Yeah, the after cannot cause a fumble. Bree Wilson was making the tackle. It's a 1st down, and the big guy almost went to the end zone.
I didn't think he could look any stronger than he did in past years. They said this is the 1st year that he's worked on weights, and he works at it harder now than anybody in their camp. Look at the power right here. 17 games this guy has gone over 100 yards in his career. He's only 800, what does he need, 500 something to pass Zonka?
Zonka's
on the all-time list.
Zonka's home on the farm. A 1st down. The Redskins are moving. 11:25 left before halftime. Wiggins is trapped by Kenny Clark. Back at about the 30-yard line. Chesley helping too.
Big play by Ken Clark, and
wow,
you kind of figure that. How do you net quickly? But he thought he was in the tag team. He thought he had Riggins down one time. And another guy jumped in. Watch this. Here's Clark. He was in the gap on the left side, number 71. Got in clean. Watch him spin Riggins here. And the normal back's down right now. He's down. That's not a normal back right there, number 44. He's still battling.
Now, from the 1-back offense, it seems to me Theismann is looking to see where Randy Logan, the safety man, isn't running away from him. That's sort of their scheme, I believe, if I'm correct.
Well, he's their best force man, so that's a good idea.
Run to the free safety side. Here's Theismann back. It's a long drop. 7 drop. He's dropping it to Thriggins, who is knocked down on a good tackle by Jerry Robinson. Jerry Robinson, the number 1 draft for the Eagles 3 years ago. What an athlete.
Well, you know, only the great athletes really make that kind of play, Tom. A guy, a normal linebacker with good ability even will come up and make that tackle and hit the guy. But he drove right through him. He drove 2 yards through him on this.
And then did a high five.
Yeah. And he has great ability. He ran a 9,900, I think, when he was in high school, Robinson. Look at him drive through that tackle on Riggins.
Well, a Santa Rosa kid or somewhere up there,
right up there in the Bay Area.
It's 3rd down. A big 3rd down for the Redskins. And 15. He's back to throw. Theismann, he's being rushed and hit from behind. There's a fumble for the ball. A big pass rush by Brown. Number 98, Brown. Greg Brown got Theismann in the back.
That's just about the first legitimate sack that the Eagles have had in their last 3 ball games right here. Brown will come in from the outside on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, there was question here. Did Theismann get his arm started before the throw? He did not. He was just taking it back. So it was a fumble, not an incompleted pass. So it'll be Philadelphia Eagles football 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line when we return. 7-0.
Cincinnati over Houston 7-0 in the 2nd period. Green Bay, the Rams with a field goal by Lensberger, their new guy, and a 10-0 lead over Green Bay. It's supposed to be a team that's riddled with dissension. 1st and 10 for the Eagles after the recovery. What a pass rush by Greg Brown. The toss in the eye, back to Wilbert Montgomery. Good block on the outside. Perry Harrington came out and did a good job blocking, and Mark Murphy had to make the tackle. I believe Wilbert Montgomery picked up about 7 or 8 yards. Some guy, the Eagles got 2 number 6 draft choices back in about 77. He was one for Mark Nordquist, a guard that was given to the Chicago Bears. Not a bad 6th-round choice. Had 1,249 yards a year ago, 4.9 average. In the year of the Super Bowl, really carried this team on his back. 2nd down and 2. 43. Stutter step by Harrington. He's buried. Some defensive play. Monty Coleman just ate him up. Coleman's got speed. He's also one of the, Gibbs was telling us he's the best weight guy probably on the team too. He's a nut about lifting, huh?
Well, Coleman was the guy last year who beat the Redskins with that we saw at the top of the show with great speed. Watch this right here. He may have been on a stunt that time. The only other linebacker I've seen read that good in the last couple of years is Hacksaw Reynolds.
I think we saw Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator, giving him that signal. Worked out perfectly, didn't it? All right, third down and call it 3. Lone back, that's Spagnola, the tight end in motion. Jaworski semi-rolling right. Now dumping, missing Spagnola. Sort of a jittery-looking series that time for the Eagles. Didn't look like they quite had it together. Jarris White was covering.
Both defensive coaches talked yesterday, Tom, about the fact that they weren't really sure what the other team was going to do on offense, and they thought the secret to this ball game might be how well the defensive staffs and their defensive teams on the field can make adjustments during the ball game. Maybe we've seen some of that here. That the Skins looked a little bit better that series.
And boy, that fumble recovery really pumped them up. They could have been out of it, and they're in it. Nelms back to take the punt. Maxie Runiger's first punt of the season, averaging 40 in the preseason. Become a very steady player for Dick Vermeil. Mark Slater's the snapper, the Minnesota Fireplug. Here's Runiger's kick. This is a beauty. It's a screamer heading for the sidelines. Nelms, well, it may have been a little short. You got to kick him out on the fly. You can't trust the carpet sometimes on the roll anymore. Looks like it's going to be at about the 13-yard line. The Redskins have how sweet it is. Good to hear old Lindsey Nelson doing games again, too. It makes it all seem right in this country. First and 10. Handoff. Theismann going back to the screen. The outside, Art Monk to the 21-yard line. Gornell Young getting his first chance to wrap somebody. There's Swamp Fox, my old teammate, who is the coordinator. There's wearing the yellow with the yellow shirt with the hat on. Now he's giving the signals.
Where's the yellow shirt so that they can look over there and find him more easily than if he was dressed in white like the rest of them. But he's not too hard to pick out of a crowd.
He's got those real sophisticated calls like banjo, St. Louis. Great coach. Second down and short. Pretty close. Good defensive line play by Kenny Clark, who went under. But Riggins might have gotten close. Eagles a little bit worried about the inside linebacking. Lemaster and Chesley, two big, good, strong hitters, didn't have a great preseason. It's a little hotter here at that stadium than it was when we started. It's now up to 85 degrees. You see the clock there, 7 minutes before half. An I formation, third down, and call it a foot. 3 tight ends in. That's Riggins. Under and looks like he might have picked it up by getting down. Bunning. Clark making the tackle.
Clark is really active from the nose tackle. Extremely
short,
active.
Short and can get under people, you know.
Good leverage.
Tell you, that's Bobby Beathard's done some job rebuilding this Redskin team. Well, they've got speed and they've got youth. And that bunch of young banditos he's got on the offensive line, they're all young.
Oh, they're going to be around a long time. Plus the fact that he hasn't had a whole lot of draft choices to work with.
First down by a short, by probably about the length of the ball. We're talking about Grimm and Bostic. And of course, May, big Jacoby. Riggins now has 22 yards. Minnesota on top of Tampa Bay 7-3 in the second.
Vikings might surprise up there this year. They have groomed their team to play in the carpet up there in that Metrodome or whatever they're calling it.
But Grant can coach anywhere, I think. First and 10 out on the 24. Fullback takes it. Running back, gosh. Riggins out over the 35 to the 36. A first down going away. Bree Wilson giving up about 40 pounds to make that tackle.
A little fold block in there with Russ Grimm, the left guard, folding up through the middle of the line to lead the way through. He couldn't find anybody to block until he got about 5-6 yards downfield.
What does that mean? That the pursuit was so good it may have run itself out?
Either that, they overran it, or else somebody got knocked off because there was a big pileup, because they may have taken Clark and double-teamed him and caused the pileup to keep the pursuit from coming through.
33 yards, an 11-yard burst that time for John Riggins, formerly of Kansas, with the Jets. Monk and Charlie Brown are slotted to the bottom of the screen. This is Riggins, who's getting a lot of work now. Down to the 40-yard line.
And we talked about the the double team. It happened that time again on Ken Clark. You're gonna get a lot of traffic when you're playing that nose tackle in there. That's Grimm again. Now watch, right in front of the official. Watch the double team here on 71. Grimm comes down, centers on him low, spin him around. Now where am I?
Boy, that inside linebacker's got to fill that very quickly, doesn't he?
And if that nose tackle gets knocked back in, it's tough for the linebacker to slide down and fill that hole.
You linebackers always say that, don't you?
I'll yell at him, I'll tell you.
5 minutes left before halftime. Theismann back with a lot of time. He's going deep for Charlie Brown, and he tries to make a catch closely covered there by Herm Edwards at the 15, but that was just on the edge of being a great catch.
Well, it was a great catch and a great throw, but it was also excellent coverage by Herman Edwards. One of the toughest things to do, Tommy, and I know you know this as we look at this play again, is to get the defensive back to turn his head and eyes back towards the football when it's in the air. Watch Herman Edwards right here. See him peek up there. He knew where the ball was. You get a young guy coming down there, and they won't look, and a lot of times won't have a chance to get a hand up and even distract the man a little bit off that ball.
Vermeil said something about him yesterday. Might be the best all-around athlete on the whole squad, he said.
Yes, he did.
A 60-yard throw in the air by Theismann. He just had 6 completions in a row till that near miss. 3rd down and 6. Theismann dancing quickly, finds Riggins. Riggins makes somebody miss a tackle. Edwards, he ran over Edwards and gets into Eagle territory at the 49. Some versatile running back, John Riggins. Terry Robinson finally forced him out.
Riggins lined up the normal halfback position that time, checked for a blitz. No linebackers were coming, so he just ran a little cutout pattern. Theismann had it right on the money, and then he broke the tackle on Herman Edwards.
Amazing how that recovered fumble, when it looked like the Eagles were going to take advantage, Redskins get it back, and all of a sudden their whole squad gets momentum out of it. Second period play. It's hot, and I'll tell you, it's getting nasty down that field. 1st and 10. The fake, play action. Theismann's going deep. Monk makes a grab at the 8 or 9 yard line and holds on. That's one of the great receptions you're going to see all year. Logan had him covered, and Art Monk came up with the ball. He's going to get up slowly. Logan
played center field as good as you can possibly play it. He made up a lot of ground while that ball was in the air. And did Theismann rifle that thing? That ball wasn't 10 yards above the AstroTurf at any time. Great reception. Watch this. This is great concentration. He knows he's going to get it right here.
What a catch.
How he held on is a mystery.
A little late pressure from Carl Harrison, but Theismann had a lot of time to load it up, and he threw a strike, a 43-yarder. Suddenly it's 1st and goal for the Redskins, who trailed 10-0. But the second period has been Washington's. The crowd now calling for defense. Wilbur Jackson to the 6. Hairston making the tackle.
Theismann 10 of 14 for 100 yards now in this ball game.
One thing that Marion Campbell and for me and everybody said is they don't know how intense the team is. Are they going to get mad when somebody slaps them in the face or scores on them? Now we're going to see what the defense really is for 82. 2nd and goal on the 5. A big young offensive line. You can see Marion Campbell.
3 tight ends in there now, huh, Brookie?
Yeah, 3 tight ends. One's in motion. Handoff to Wilbur Jackson, looking for any hole. He doesn't find one. Stopped at the 5-yard line.
They got a double tight end, and then they made a tight end out of the flanker to get extra blocking in there. But that time it was great penetration by the right defensive end, Carl Hairston.
Hairston did it, and then I think Chesley made the tackle.
Clark's getting in a gap. Look at Hairston outside there.
He's just looking for any hole to duck back into, huh?
And doesn't have one. That's just good team defense right there. Everybody doing their job and not worrying about the other guy, and you'll get it done.
Well said. There's Marion. That's Chuck Clausen, his associate on the defense right there with a headset. Now they've got it down. It's 3rd down and goal from the 5. Clarence Harmon's in the game. They're going to lob the ball to the end zone. Art Monk takes it. That's a touchdown for Washington. Closely covered by Herman Edwards, but another great catch by Art Monk.
He got his back turned toward the quarterback and couldn't see the football. We just talked about it before. He was the one that got a peek at it a couple plays ago, but that time had his back turned, didn't turn around. Watch him right here. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. Watch the release there by Monk. Playing bump and run, but you got to look. You got to look. If he'd have looked, he might have got a hand on that football.
Mark Mosley is going to make his first extra point attempt. Theismann's holy. Straight ahead kicker. Not many of those around like you were, Wayne, right?
Dinosaur.
A dinosaur. The dinosaur 7-yard drive in 11 plays. Now we're going to get young Hayes kicking off. Number 5 is young Hayes, the punter, who's kicking a low shot, trying to keep it away. This is Calvin Murray, the Ohio Stater for Dick Vermeil, who's being wrapped back at the 16-yard line. Great coverage and a great tackle by Greg Williams. Okay, we'll be back in a moment. The Eagles have the ball. The Redskins have the momentum. Of course, in highlights, there's some wild games coming up.
Seems like there's always a lot of wild games and upsets on the open.
And really all the way through the whole season. At least my whole career was an upset. Favored, but never able to win. 1st and 10 out on the 17. We've got a good football game here. 2:19 left before half. Jaworski deep in his own territory. A fake, and Wilbert's trying to go up. Got bumped around, and they're going to call the flag on the bump downfield. The illegal chuck by the rookie, Tony Peters. No, not the rookie. Tony Peters, the safety man, who had Wilbert mano-mano, but he hit him beyond the 5 yards.
Yeah, that's a good call, Brookie. You saw it because it was an illegal hit. Montgomery out there, he went down about 7-8 yards and ran a turn. And then he started upfield. And as he started upfield, he got hit past that 5-yard line where he
illegal
allowed that
contact, number 23, 1st down.
Watch the bump. No, the bump was back a little bit further than that.
But you're
Montgomery
started downfield,
yeah.
Huh? You have
well,
to.
you got to. It's going to cost you 6 points if you don't bump him. So it's the penalty or 6, and he did the smart thing. He was beat.
Wilbert again flanked to the bottom of the screen. Perry Harrington, the lone back. A 1st down because of the defensive misplay and a sack. Right side, Perry Brooks, number 69, came in a flash. Like somebody missed him clean. He was there rather quickly.
He got there extremely fast.
2-minute warning coming up. Oh, the Redskins bounce back. Trailing 10-0 and threatening to go down 17-0. They've bounced back and they're in it. It's 10-7 and almost halftime. Philadelphia, and the fans came for what they thought might be a rout. The first quarter looked like Jaworski and company were going to burn the Washington team right off the field. But I tell you, that's one thing Gibbs has. They lose 5 in a row last year and come back and win 8 of the next 11. They're not going to quit. You got to keep battling them for 4 quarters. Jaworski had a great preseason. He looked much more relaxed. Sid Gilman was back, helping him with play-action passes and why do you run certain formations.
Jaworski said he feels this is the best team he's played on since he's been in Philadelphia.
2nd down. 16 after the sack. Perry Brooks. Well, they got the prevent defense in there now. Jaworski gets away from being sacked, chased from behind, unloads it, intended for Perry Harrington. Dexter Manley was breathing right down number 7's throat.
Jaworski did a strange thing that time for him, Tom. He played stare down over there with William Andrews on the right sideline, working against Tony Peters, waiting for him to come open, waiting, and then he just never did. He didn't go off to anyone else. Watch him right here now. Watch him checking that sideline. Looking there, waiting. Nothing's happening. He didn't go to a second receiver at all on that play.
It's called target fixation in the service, right?
Number 72, that Dexter Manley can run a little bit.
Couple of scores we're going to have for you. Don't forget at halftime, Irvin Brent with a lot of them. Atlanta, the Giants 7-7. Bruner just hit Ernie Gray with a 33-yarder. And Chicago and Detroit are tied up. Sewell with a 2-yard run for the Bears under Ditka. Shotgun time on 3rd down and a lot. Harold Carmichael overthrown the 47-yard line. Lavender in pursuit.
What about Lavender? You know, Tommy, the last time you and I worked together was 10 years ago. Joe Lavender was a rookie for the Philadelphia Eagles. We did a preseason game between the Giants and the Eagles. What's that story that you get better with age? We aged and Lavender got better.
A life of crime for us, and great play by Joe Lavender. 1:47 left. Nelm's back. Remember, they have the good field goal kicking of Mosley if they can get inside that 40-yard line. Runniger back on the, call it the 1. Slater the snapper. Special teams play. Don't think you can't win some football games on this in the NFL. Nelms is good at it. Uh-oh. A few yards might not make a difference. Even the timeout's better to burn one than to make a bad move with it.
Well, you know yourself, having a guy right there like Nelms as your safety man. Everybody else on the special teams know if they just get a little piece of a guy coming downfield and give him just an inch, just a space, he's going to turn into something big. It makes everybody play a lot better on these special teams. Delay a game on the Eagles, and that was intentional.
Well, Master sort of runs that crew, and I think he thought there was a mixed-up assignment. There's Nelms. Alvin Garrett, former Giant. He's a dangerous little rascal, too. Be careful. Rudiger now in the end zone. Might be coming. They are coming. Rudiger kicks away from the rush, gets a wobbler out. Nelms takes it on the dead run at the 50, and Shara throws him right into the Washington bench at about the 47-yard line. Boy, a lot of good football there, pro and con. Don't go away. 1:38 left. A 39-yard punt, about a yard reach CBS at 1 p.m. For those of you in the Philadelphia area, you'll see the Eagles against the Cleveland Browns from Cleveland. The rest of you will see a great interdivisional rivalry, the Dallas Cowboys and the St. Louis Football Cardinals. Second game. That's right. Washington will see the Redskins play at Tampa in their second game. A great contest for you out west. The 49ers against the Denver Broncos. A lot of football next week. A doubleheader week on CBS. Theismann hitting Warren inside the 30-yard line. Joe Theismann rolling left, getting away from Bigfoot Harrison, and Bree Wilson, the safety man, made the tackle. Boy, Theismann has been quick.
Yes, he has, and Warren is getting open to tight end. Normally you thought that the Theismann would be hooking up with the outside people, but it had been Warren today. That one for 19 yards.
Gibbs is thinking about perhaps, obviously, a touchdown, as you see him talking with Joe Theismann, but he might also be thinking about Mark Mosley to get a tie. The old straightaway kicker from 30 or 35 yards in is deadly. Theismann having quite a first half. Pretty careful with the ball, too. He hasn't done anything real silly with it, has he?
No, he hasn't. He said that in his younger days he'd try to do some miraculous things with the football, and one of them would turn out sensational, 7 of them would turn out bad, and then 2 of them would turn out so-so. He said now he's to the point where every 10 plays, he says he might get still one sensational, but 7 of them don't turn out bad anymore.
The percentages are better, right? Between the 30 and the 39, over the years, the 11 years that Mosley's been kicking, he is 58 of 79, which is like, it's about a 60% ratio, which sounds pretty good to me.
Mosley is 14th all-time in points scored in the National Football League.
Remember when Dallas used to worry about his right leg, whether he had a shot put in there, the steel liner in his cast and all that stuff? He bench presses so much weight that, of course, you kickers always were great athletic people, specimens, right?
Well, I only kicked when we didn't have anybody else. So you got to call me a linebacker.
Desperation. 1:23 left before half. Lone back gets the ball. Clarence Harmon breaks through on the quick draw to the 17-yard line. Randy Logan tackling.
Towards the end of the half now, he's had Riggins and Wilbur Jackson in there. Joe Gibbs had that time, and Harmon put a fresh guy in there. Harmon is very excellent at coming out of the backfield, catching the ball. 12 passes in one game. The Redskins coming out of the backfield.
Good all-around football players. Theismann, 10 of his last 11 have been completions. He's humming. Got good pass protection, going outside and overthrows number 87. Charlie Brown. Roynell Young was there. They ran into the band. Charlie Brown must have come back with a trombone. There is a flag in the end zone. Back in the end zone. They're going to call it on Bree Wilson, I think. Maybe number 22 is. It's going to be called against the Eagles. This could be a goal-to-go job from the 1.
Listen to it, because I didn't see anything.
Was away from the ball. The play on Charlie Brown looked all right. It must have been something else happening deep in the end zone. They're putting it half the distance, huh?
Unsportsmanlike conduct after the ball.
Did it happen out of bounds? Did it happen over on the sideline?
Unsportsmanlike after the ball. after the ball. Roynell Young just took a free one and knocked Charlie Brown into the crowd, into the band. It's first and goal from the 8. Quick toss again for Art Monk, and Monk is caught and knocked away by Herman Edwards. No, it's Roynell Young over there this time. Boy, good defensive play there.
Yes, it was. Roynell Young, a Pro Bowler last year, a real introspective type individual. They say doesn't seek out a lot of notoriety or anything, just gets over there and plays day in and day out and does an excellent job. Look at this right here.
It's fast hands.
I'll tell you, Monk looked like a high diver going up and twisting in midair for that ball. Good effort by both players.
Earlier, Monk had the 6-yard touchdown from Joe Theismann. This time it was knocked away by Roynell Young. Strong formation right, it trips. Now the tight end comes back to the left. It sets up for blocking. Theismann with a lot of time. Oh, he finds Charlie Brown at the 1-yard line. Charlie Brown scores a touchdown. 35 seconds left before half, and Charlie Brown wants the ball. Wow.
Now, Tommy, that's what the Eagles were worried about. As Charlie Brown catches the first touchdown pass of his young career, the Eagles were worried about Theismann getting out of containment, getting a second look at the defense. As you see the Redskins celebrating on the sideline. That's exactly what happened. Watch Theismann and his quick feet make this play work right here. It's a little half rollout right here. Nothing there. Well, he threw some arms, too. There were some arms up. That was a great throw.
He's quick. Mosley's extra point attempt out of Theismann's hole is good. Boy, the Redskins have roared back. Never say die. Washington with the lead the first time that the Skins have led this afternoon here in Philadelphia.
Charlie Skywalker Brown. David Thompson.
He jumped over an offensive guard. He's only 5'10", an 8th-round draft a year ago by the Redskins out of South Carolina State. He's a good one. The ball is kicked by number 5. That's Jeff Hayes out of the end zone. He's the punter. Also does a pretty good job of hitting the tee shot.
They said that he kicked all but 2 kickoffs that he attempted in the preseason into the end zone. And on the last one that didn't go into the end zone, he came down and made the tackle at about the 18-yard line and almost put the guy out of the ballgame. Really smoked him, I guess.
They say he's really a good athlete, not just a kicker. I don't mean to bemean kickers because, you know, everybody has to do something. But he is a good athlete with us. 35 seconds left in what was a total Eagle romp in the first period has turned into a real uphill battle now. Jaworski's going to be careful till halftime. Spagnola remaining back. Harry Harrington getting maybe a yard or so. Crowd loves it. Dexter Manley, who's really playing a game of defensive end, and Monty Coleman, the linebacker, getting together for the tackle. Redskins call a timeout as Murphy goes over to check with Richie Pettibone and Torgerson and all the people that are in charge of defense for the Redskins. I think they put a lot more heat on with their defensive team than I would have expected on Jaworski in that second quarter.
And especially in the second quarter, we saw Brooks come in one time on an inside rush, get in right away, and they really have done a much better job. On the other hand, so have the Eagles. They've gotten penetration a lot.
Well, we're seeing a good football game. It sure makes me glad that all the talk about urinalysis for drug usage, testing and all that, and the possibilities of strikes, that all of that right now is forgotten. And the players, that's the one great thing about football, people, once you blow the whistle, start the game, it is total. It's really American, this football thing.
Well, the labor situation, Tom, I think we knew that nothing was going to happen, at least here in Philadelphia today, in regard to the labor situation. On the players at practice yesterday were worried about their tickets.
That's right. When they're buying season tickets, when players are putting up their own money to buy them, you figure there's going to be a season, huh?
That's right.
We went up to John Bunning yesterday and said, John, is there anything we should know? And he said, gosh, maybe you guys know something I don't know.
No, they were thinking about playing yesterday. That's the way it should be.
Wilbur Montgomery is flanked to the bottom of the screen. Carmichael and Smith run Smith to the top. In the blitz. The Skins coming. Here it is. Jaworski back. Underthrown, but Spagnola catches it at the 32. He's hit by Coleman and Jarris White. 14 seconds left. Wonder what kind of a less than 2-minute drill we're going to see from the Eagles. Jaworski taking his time, in great shape physically. Again, Vermeil said, I don't know what our intensity level is going to be. We're going to miss the Krepleys that are hot guys and want to play, you know, the tough games. Maybe new leadership will show itself.
He did another thing this year, too. He said that he had heard and read so much about the way he overworked his people in training camp that he lightened up on them some, gave him some extra time off, didn't quite work them as long. He said he thinks that perhaps maybe his guys are reading that and starting to believe it, too. So he went the other way a little bit this year. But and I think because of that, since he really wasn't doing 100% what he wanted to, I think perhaps that's why he has a few doubts in his mind, how it's going to all turn out.
He lost his personnel director and close friend. Carl Peterson went to the new league here in Philadelphia. And he says now family is first, health is second, football is third. But I have a feeling that that's usually close with family. That's almost a tie. He loves it. He loves the football, too. He's a neighbor of mine. I can't get him on a golf course. He draws plays in the bunkers, you know. I'm worried about getting the ball up and down. He's making X's and O's. 1st and 10. 14 seconds left. Carmichael and Mike Quick. Montgomery and Camfield. And it's shotgun. Skins are dropping back about 15 yards and dropping quickly. Everything in front of them. This is Billy Camfield catching the ball, dropping the 40-yard line. Good tackle by Vernon Dean, the rookie. The 32 looks like he might be a player.
Well, they said that they felt he would have an excellent career in the National Football League, but wasn't quite ready to start. They're going to bring him along slow.
The Phillies burned their last time out. Number 7 comes over. Third team quarterback, the one that's on the taxi squad for Philadelphia, is a fellow named Dante Pastorini. But only on the taxi squad. The backup is Joe Pisarcik, the former Giant. Pastorini's trying to get himself in shape. Looked pretty healthy, didn't he, out here throwing around this past week?
He worked hard. Was working hard yesterday. Stayed out by himself after the practice. This is almost a point and a half right now, Tom, with 7 seconds left on the clock, where Jaworski just might air it out, let it go long, and if the Skins do intercept it, it'll be deep in their territory, so it wouldn't be any problem, and time would probably run out.
Might even get a flag deep, huh?
Yep.
Get into scoring position.
Or maybe get your field goal team out on the field.
Tony Franklin, as we said, had a 59-yarder down in Texas a couple of years ago. Boy, this was a Eagles first quarter and a Washington second quarter. I can't wait for the second half. Mike Quick coming to the bottom of the screen, the number 1 draft against the Redskins number 1 draft. Shotgun formation, maybe the last play of the half. Jaworski going down the middle and throwing for it. Smith. Smith has it down to the 27-yard line, and they may not get the clock stopped. Franklin will get the chance. The clock will not start until the snap is made, and here comes Tony Franklin. This is going to be a wild contest. This keeps up all year, I'll be aged. I may be over 40 mentally.
1 second left on the clock. Well, they have to allow them time to get their kicking units in there before they start it up. Did you say that the Eagles had used their last timeout?
Well, they following the completion of that, it must not have. It must be the last one.
Right.
We were told that it was the last timeout. John Shara is going to hold at the 34-yard line, so it'll be a 44-yard kick. I know the Redskins didn't call the timeout.
Right, no, it was Carmichael. He was downfield, and he called the timeout. He got to the official who was right there and called it right away.
And if it had been illegal, they would not have allowed it to him to call. Now we'll see if Tony Franklin, number 3 draft, one of the, I guess the highest kicker ever drafted by the Eagles, out of Texas Aggies. I saw him in college kick a 62-yarder. That would have been good from 72. He's flamboyant and somewhat controversial.
And what will this one be? This one will be about 45, 44 yards.
Yep.
Easily within his range, the way he was kicking yesterday. And the great thing about him, most soccer kickers don't get the lift that he does. He gets tremendous lift. The ball gets up in the air immediately.
I think he likes the new AstroTurf. He said it's really firm. It's like hitting a good golf shot. Last one, the first National Football League is prohibited. Boy, I'm looking forward to the second half. There's the rookie from North Carolina. From Carolina blue to that burgundy and gold of Jack Kent Cook's team down in Washington. Everett Bennett Williams, the president. Quite a franchise. Hoover, the young rookie sensation, is back for the return. Arizona State man, he's going to have it. Mel Hoover, look, watch this run back. Hoover is hit on his first play of the NFL and knocked back on about the 14-yard line. Boy, the Redskins have good special teams play.
Isn't it funny how tradition works that way? They always have.
Alvin Garrett down under there. Vikings were always good on special teams. The Redskins, Cowboys, I guess. Sizemore and Walters at the tackles. Baker, Kenny at the guards. Guy Morris, one of the underrated offensive linemen in all of football, at center. Theismann, Spagnola, Ron Smith, Carmichael, Perry Harrington, and Wilbert Montgomery. High formation toss back to Montgomery. It's a good block, gets away from Money, and he's going down the sidelines. Bird Lavender's trying to knock him out. They're going to say he stepped out of bounds. Montgomery thinks he's gone 86 yards. They're going to call it back to the 22-yard line. Monty Coleman barely brushed him enough to get him out of bounds, but 31 was off.
You saw it, and it points out what a great athlete that guy is right there, number 31, Wilbert Montgomery. Coleman, the outside linebacker on the left side, played the heck out of this play. He strung it out. Look at number 51 right there. Played it about as good as you can, but just couldn't get him down. There you saw the foot on the sideline.
He's got small feet, too. As Wilbert goes, the ball club seems to go. Keep that in mind. Abilene Christian had injuries in college and still had a million yards. Quite a young guy. 6th-round draft choice that has been rather productive, I'd say. Very strong. It's second and close. Jamona's in. Louis Jamona, the tailback. He's squeaky. He can get sometimes the first. Handoff goes to Harrington, who's really hit. It's going to be close if he got it first. Coleman's really playing good linebacker, number 51.
Big Dave Butts, number 65, made the initial hit that time. And he's just what you call a stuffer in there. You just stand him up, and you're not going to run through him. You're going to bounce you around some. And they bounced out, and Coleman made the hit. They come in, especially defense.
Now they'll bring in maybe Cuban, the young guy from Penn State, when they go to a 30 sometimes on a pass rush situation.
Well, they got their short yardage situation.
Oh, yeah, this is third and short.
Short yardage and goal line here, so they've extra linemen.
Leroy Harrison, Jamona. This goes to Jamona. I don't believe he made it. He may have made it, but I don't think he got much at the ball. Harris, the blocker, took him in. I don't even know if Harris made it past the stick. Redskin defensive club has really strapped it on. They're tough. That was Murphy on the bottom of that, I think, the safety man. It's going to be awfully close. Are they going to measure?
You know, Murphy was close in there. He led this team in tackles the last 3 years.
I got a call for a measurement, don't you, if I'm on the field?
For sure. 6'4", 210 pounds. He's built, Murphy, as just like Richie Pettibone was when he played safety for the Bears.
Sort of a coach on the field, isn't he?
Calls the defensive
projection
signals.
of Pettibone himself. First down by inches. Third period play. That's Carmichael in the slot. Has not caught a pass yet today. May have caught one. Oh, he did have a catch. I'm sorry. This is Wilbert Montgomery at midfield making a great grab. Now, we were told by Coach Vermeil and Ben Hawkins, the receiver coach, that Wilbert might be the best receiver on the team if he really worked at it like he does in running.
He would have the speed that any of the wide receivers have. Here's a safety and a cornerback on that play right here. It almost looks like a coach's film for you as we pick it up. Murphy, the safety, dropping deeper. That's Peters over there, I believe, number 23 on the sideline. Look at Wilbert, gets him turned around. He turned his back, and there's the catch.
And really delivered by Jaworski right at the cut. 26-yard pass. Jaworski now moving the team. That had an awful lot of trouble in the second quarter moving. Montgomery in motion. Jaworski getting rushed, dumps it to Montgomery, who's being hit behind the line of scrimmage. I believe it's Murphy, the safety man, who had him solo, looked him right in the eye. Loss of 4. Both teams are really prepared. They have more ways of knowing what your frequencies are than you know yourself these days. They feed that computer and it just belches out all the information.
Including telephone numbers. That time single coverage, though, by the Redskins. And Murphy with the first back out on a weak side and was sitting up there right in it.
What do you think? A screen here, a good screen pass, a double waggle or something? Let's guess with the quarterback who gets his place from the coach on the sidelines. Harrington remaining back. Being rushed by Manley. Jaworski gets away and gives it to Harrington, who's hit at the 49-yard line immediately. I think that's Larry Cuban, the Penn State rookie. Nailed him as soon as he caught the ball.
Jaworski felt the pressure that side from the right outside. Dexter Manley working against Stan Walters over there.
That's the reason some people like the 2 tight end thing, don't they? That keeps those defensive ends from taking those.
Watch the left of your screen right here. Here comes Manley. Jaworski, you know, just a sixth sense. He just felt it, really. Moved up a step or 2.
By Braille, you can feel those guys when they go by.
Hear the breathing.
3rd down and 8. 10:42 left in the 3rd period. The shotgun. Jaworski going up for Carmichael. Harold Carmichael catches the ball. Is going to run on into the end zone. He's knocked out at the 3-yard line. Carmichael jumped over Bird Lavender and is knocked out of bounds by Murphy.
Great throw, great catch. And you got to give Lavender pretty good credit. He wasn't in bad shape. He was right with Carmichael. And keep in mind, he's playing with a pulled hamstring. We saw him do that earlier. That's a great touch pass right here. You look at the adjustment Carmichael make. Hardest ball to catch right over the top of your headgear, and he adjusted to it beautifully.
Now, Bird Lavender was a backcourt man in basketball at San Diego State. And, of course, at Southern, Harold Carmichael played pretty good NBA center type stuff. So that was a jump between 2 good leapers there. 46-yarder, almost a touch to the shadow of the goal line. The Eagles have struck quickly and with definition in this 3rd period. In motion, Spagnuolo, 3 tight ends in there. Toss to Montgomery. Montgomery cutting back. Montgomery scores. The long arm reaches out for the touchdown.
Tommy Montgomery got his touchdown again thanks to Leroy Harris, the lead back in the backfield. Watch him on the toss. Number 20 right in front of Montgomery. Watch this block coming up right here. Bang.
Hello. Stayed on his feet.
Got another one.
Leroy obtained from Miami. Last year's biggest injury problems to the Birds were probably that their fullbacks all got hurt at one time or the other. There's Tony Franklin with Charo Holding. Eagles will go back in front. The crowd finally had something to cheer about. This was a sidewinder, but it made it through. That was West Texas kickoff. Franklin had trouble last year. This year he's reaching the end zone. Nelms gets out, gets away from one. Hit and drill at the 19.5-yard line. Good coverage by the Eagles. Blackmore down there quickly, along with number 96, Harvey Armstrong, the rookie. Kickoff's a lot better to start your defensive series at the 20 or inside of that rather than out at the 30-yard line. Rams 23-7 over Green Bay in the 3rd period now. Cincinnati shutting out the Houston Oilers in the 3rd. Pass out to Brown in the flat. A gain of maybe a yard or so. Herm Edwards was right there. We'll try to set the defensive lineup. Carl Hairston is in there. Clark is in there. Bigfoot Harrison is 68's at left defensive end. Bernard Wilson, Logan Young, and Edwards in the secondary, with Bunning, Chesley, LeMaster, and Jerry Robinson the linebacking core, and that's good. One of the best units that's been around this league for the last 5 or 6 years. 2nd down 8. Riggins out to the 24. Hairston goes under the pile, and suddenly the Eagles look like they've picked up a little tempo. They look like they're hitting.
Big play by Carmichael, and the catch down on the sideline. Those kinds of things are the things that increase your momentum during the ball game.
Theismann, who has matured and become an excellent quarterback. Make no mistake, he's one of the best. Minnesota 14-3. Tampa Bay with just the field goal. That's in the third. St. Louis trailing New Orleans now 10-7. Saints are going to be interesting. There's some interesting people. 3rd and 5. Theismann quickly. Lawrence Harmon, does he make the catch? But there's not going to be much of a gain, if any.
He made the catch, and I don't think they got the first down yardage.
How about
Good
that?
pressure that time by the Eagles. Theismann held on to the ball as long as he possibly could, but really had to release it before he wanted to.
That's good defense. 2 complete passes. You don't get a first down. 4th and 1. Jeff Hayes, the rookie, with Shara waiting for the punt down about the Eagle 28. Johnny Shara played for Vermeil at UCLA, one of the U clans. Hayes has to jump for the snap. This is not a very good kick. Shara at the 35-yard line. Looked like Ellis might have put a little pressure on the kicker that time. The Eagles have good field position. And John Shara, slow get right. Ron O'Neill, Otho Davis, the training department. He got hit on the ankle there.
On the return, number 39, Otis Wansley makes the first hit, and then number 47, Greg Williams, falls in.
Believe me, he will get the best medical attention. The Eagle training room looks like Mayo Clinic. They have got everything from x-rays to CAT scans for the brain there. It is really incredible. A mood room. I like that. I could have gone in there and spent about a year. 1st down and 10. The Eagles have the ball out of the 40. Remaining 1 back offense. Spagnuolo in motion. Here's Wilbert Montgomery through a big hole. Wilbert to midfield. That's Montgomery at his best. Malott making a tackle.
Pete Perot in there at left guard, too, now, rookie for Steve Kenny, I believe. And a fine block over there on the left side.
Kenny's had some injury problems, and Perot, of course, is a number 2 draft of 79. That's just belligerent enough to be a defensive player. He's going to be a real good offensive guard.
That's a good attitude. He was up to about 300 pounds at one time, wasn't he? And slimmed down now to a svelte 270 or 265.
Got the baby fat off. It's 2nd and close. Great offensive situation for play calling. Toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. Cuts back inside, almost breaks loose. That's to the 42-yard line. Mark Murphy hanging on. He ran it manly that time.
Well, they're starting to carve people up now. You know what they've done? They had the Redskins off balance a lot by throwing on 1st down. Coming into this series, they have thrown on 1st down 10 to 17 times. Look at it again right here now. Watch that left guard over there. P.D. Perot, watch him release and get the linebacker. Big block here. Walters is working number 75, and Montgomery makes the cut right in between the 2 of them. You could have got through that hole.
Well, I don't know about that, but Wilbert certainly did. 1st and 10. The Eagles now have struck to lead 20 to 14 in the 3rd period. Redskins do not fold up their tent. Being chased, dumps it off to Wilbert Montgomery. He's got 2 blockers out in front. Wilbert Montgomery may score a touchdown. Baker's going to help him go in with the touch. A touchdown pass. Montgomery had at least 3 blockers in front, and everybody got somebody. The 50th touchdown for Wilbert Montgomery, a 42-yarder.
This was just a good-looking play right here. We talked about the screen earlier in the ball game and said the longer you can hold it, the better off you are. Redskins on a blitz, so they didn't have linebackers filling out to the flat. It was up to the defensive back. He wasn't up to it. Harris White there.
Baker could have scored too. Didn't give it in the ball, huh? You catch the defense blitzing and pull it off. You get outside of him. It's pretty much all she wrote. There's Wilbert. They worried about his intensity in training camp. Better see a shrink. The extra point over the net, into the crowd, and touch. This man's all pumped up. He's kicking the extra points now up into the speakers that circle the big stadium here. This is Mike Nelms, the league's best, the Pro Bowler at this position. A sidewinder that Nelms goes over and takes away from Alvin Garrett. Nelms is up. No, he's not upended. Flags are flying at the 20. He makes it to the 23-yard line. And then havoc. Anthony Griggs, the rookie linebacker from Villanova, Ohio State. Ohio State.
Anthony Griggs is going to be a player, too.
Little clipping called against the Redskins. But this team, again, will not panic. You don't lose 0-5 and then win 8 of your next 11 by being a team that doesn't have it in the pits. This game, early in the game, they could have been blown out.
We have clipping number 25. First down.
Well, they've got to realize that the Eagles just caught them in the wrong defense on that screen pass to Montgomery. That's going to happen to you once in a while, especially when you have to take the gamble to blitz.
To put that pressure on, huh? The Eagle defense, they love this situation. Theismann deep in his own territory. First and 10 from the 10. Couple of yards by John Riggins. Don't forget the doubleheader next week. Philadelphia against Cleveland. For those of you in this Philadelphia area, the other great interdivisional rivalry, the Dallas Cowboys and the St. Louis Cardinals. The second game, those of you in the Washington area will see the Redskins playing against Tampa Bay. And the rest of you will see the tremendous contest out in Denver, where old Curly Morton is, against the Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers. That should be some game, and you're pretty familiar with that 49er group. They'll be a good team again.
I think they're going to be better.
How could you be better than that? Completion for a first down to the 28.
We were talking about Craig Morton being the quarterback out of Denver. I'm not sure that Danny Reeves would have him in there with his mobility because of the 49er pass rush with Fred Dean. They're going to use Fred Dean at linebacker a lot of times in pass situations this year, a lot like the Giants do Lawrence Taylor, so you don't know where he lines up. And with Morton's mobility, it could be the fact that we'll see Steve DeBerg, the ex-49er quarterback, playing against his mates out there.
Should be a good game. Denver, San Fran next week. Of course, Philadelphia being Cleveland. Tampa Bay goes against these Skins. That was Walker's catch by a good one for a first down. Theismann has him out of the hole. Caught by Kenny Clark. Riggins is taken back to the 25. Clark and Riggins have danced before, haven't they?
That's the second wrestling match they've had where Clark is great penetration and gets Riggins around the waist and can't bring him down.
Hey, Kenny Clark played in an FCA golf tournament for me this year, and when he hit a tee shot, the whole tee shook. Hanging down, it's like a seismic read of about 9. He's really done the off-season work, though. He was a free agent out of Syracuse. He's become a great nose tackle. He has to be good to replace Charlie Johnson. Second down, and 11. Throw set, 2 backs left. Theismann on his own dice screen back. That's Clarence Harmon. Harmon beats Hayes. Harmon has a lot of running room. Bernard Wilson now has a chance, doesn't make the tackle, and Chesley comes to the backside and buries Clarence Harmon. What a hit by number 59.
This was one of the plays that the Philadelphia Brain Trust is worried about with Theismann. The sprint out to the right, throw back situation, kind of quick screen. You got to stay at home over on the right side, and it's tough. Jerry Robinson did. He's going to almost make the play right here. The block by number 63, Fred Dean, sprung Harmon, got him downfield, and he made a good run.
Get hit like that, you hear chariots of fire in your helmet.
I'll clean the nasal passages out, all right.
First down, Theismann cleverly going over the middle. Oh, 84 has a chance for it. Big Williams, he looked around and saw the defender and didn't get his hands on it. Both of them are down. That's Bernard Wilson.
Bernard made the hit.
Williams is 248. He came in at 252 or 3, didn't, a little bit over the limit, but he's down to 240 something. Bernard Wilson goes about 175 pounds, ringing wet with a rock in his pocket.
Looks like to finish a Rocky 3 there with both, or Rocky 2 with both of them on the ground.
The last 2 plays have been some tremendous hitting.
And there's the Chesley hit right here on Harmon on the last play. Look at that right here. 2 plays consecutively. And have been great hits by defensive players.
Not illegal. I
No,
think
sir.
they're pretty. This is the big tight end. Bernard Wilson did come off under his own steam, even though Otho Davis, the trainer, carried his helmet off for him. But the safety man got off, and here's the big tight end. The rookie. What a draft choice out of Alabama A&M.
In the mold, as we mentioned before, of Kellen Winslow.
Giles, big and fast, huh? There's Bernard in there. He's even got his helmet back on.
After that hit, he'll never take it off again.
Williams is all right. Don't forget tonight on CBS, after the U.S. Open tennis finals, watch 60 Minutes, Archie Bunker's Place, the Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and Trapper John M.D. It all begins at 7 p.m. or at the conclusion of the action at the U.S. Open. Some great tennis and some great entertainment. What a good football game. Don't count this one out. 3:22 left in the third. A lot of time. In motion. Theismann being chased. Unloads it, and it may be intentional grounding. Let's look for flags. There are no flags. Theismann got away with it. Pretty clever. Robinson right in his headset.
Theismann saved himself some yardage that time with his mobility. And look back, he had a tight end lurking in that pile. I don't know whether it was Don Warren. I think it probably was, number 85 in the group of players that he overthrew. But he wasn't trying to get anything out of that. He was just trying to save a sack.
Theismann just signed a multi-year contract, 4 years for a little over $1.2 million. You want to live to enjoy some of that loot. Unload the football. It's third down and 10 on the 44. He's got a lot of time. Strike to Brown. Knocked away by Herman Edwards. A little bit underthrown. Good defensive play at the 31. Charlie Brown had to sort of come back to get that one, huh?
It wasn't that great of an adjustment. It was just a touch behind him, but he was pretty well covered.
Jeff Hayes in to punt. He's had some great ones inside the 20. Even in college, I think he had like 25 out of 50 kicks were inside the 20. Jamona back now. Shara, of course, hurt earlier. There's Louis Jamona. He's not big, but he plays rather large. He's quite a football player, a little guy. Here's Hayes. He's kicking a fair catch type, and that's what Jamona's going to do at the 17-yard line. A slight ripple runs through the crowd. A punt was not fumbled, and the Eagles are ahead. It's 27-14 with 3 minutes left to the third. Ferris White stopping it. There's that taxi squad. Remember that used to be illegal? But George Hallis had a 40-man taxi squad. They played volleyball.
Well, that's why they made it illegal. It was okay to have a few around.
They got to pay him full salary now, which is really good, huh?
Well, Wigan with the guy that puts 12 guys in on the defense when they're in a goal line situation, he's going to have a big taxi squad.
Those from Washington are still under contract and just sitting out today. Again, the handoff to Harrington, who's going to be buried. Big Matt Mendenhall, the BYU hunk fell on him. Perry Harrington, the number 2 draft. Great speed, not exactly a fullback in blocking skills, but he can run like probably no other fullback in football. He's got great speed.
Got the word on number 21, John Shira, a special teams player, and a great one for the Eagles. He bruised his knee, probably will not return this afternoon.
Okay, Mike Quick is in, number 82 is to the bottom of the screen. To the top is Carmichael and Montgomery. I believe Ron Smith for 81. There's Wilbur flying through. Oop, tries to get knocked off now. Jaworski's going to the outside. Smith makes a dance with the feet. Right in front of Jarris White, steps out of bounds. Good timing. Boy, Jaworski really looks relaxed. He's just laying it there, isn't he?
I think he likes to look over there and see all the room that they give Ron Smith, too, with his speed. And they'll keep running that out pattern until they close it down a little bit.
It's a moment of truth for any defensive back on the deep sidelines. You can take that short angle, but if you miss, go home. 27-14. Less than 2 minutes now in the third period. Home back is Montgomery. Wilbert's going to help block. He stays in. Jaworski's going to run for it. And now he's going to dive. It's going to be short of the first at the 42-yard line. Olkowitz, the linebacker, zeroing in on him.
I mean, he does look to be in a little bit better shape than he has in past years. He looked fairly quick on that move right there as he pulled it down and came up the middle.
The signals are coming in. Becker in the yellow shirt there, the backfield coach, walking away now. That's Chuck Bednarik, by the way, the big guy with the charts there. Of course, the all-time Eagle great, the Hall of Famer, and Vermeil has to put something in his hands or Charlie will be into contact, full action on you. A great player, a great teammate, and it's fun to see him still around the game. Montgomery cutting back inside. It's going to be short of the first. Mendenhall making another good tackle. Wilbert slows getting up himself. The Giants on top of Atlanta 14-7. That's in the fourth.
And you know there's some hitting going on in that game.
Wow.
St. Louis over New Orleans 14-0.
Hannafin may have it together. Lomax is the quarterback there. Of course, he's got Anderson, a great running back. Montgomery just stayed down long enough to give Vermeil a little thrill. Then he got back up into the huddle. Minnesota 14-3 over Tampa Bay. And the Bucks ran crazy in preseason, didn't they? Montgomery 51 yards on 11 carries. He's caught a bunch too. I formation, straight drive to Leroy Harris. Looks like he has the first down. Cuban making the tackle. There's Leroy. Back from a broken arm from a year ago, and in the best shape he's probably been in his whole life. Good guy.
No, he's kind of a gamer too, and he shows up on Sunday and gives you what he got.
So do you, Walker. You're a good gamer yourself. All strapped up, ready to go in our first game. Score after 3 quarters. Eagles 27, Washington 14. Wayne, we should mention that Joe Washington, the great all-around back for the Redskins. And what do you have, stretched ligaments, or is it an arthroscopic type knee operation? He's out for a month, didn't he?
Yes, right. They expect him to be out at least 4 weeks. And boy, he means so much to this ball club, this Washington Redskin team.
Joe Gibbs was a coach. He was the offensive coach with Tampa Bay, with San Diego, with St. Louis, and everywhere he was, they put together tremendously good scoring offensive football teams. He's a good coach in his second year. 1st and 10 on the 46. Pro set now into the eye. That's Harrington and Jamona. Jaworski out of the play action. A lot of time. Dumps it over to Louis Jamona. Jamona faking at the 50. Then takes on Jarris White to the 44-yard line. They're yelling Lou.
Pretty good little move on the linebacker out there. That's one of the most embarrassing situations you can get into when you're an outside linebacker covering those guys. I think got 2 ways to go on you. Best way to play it is just kind of take away the inside and hope you get help somewhere.
Yeah, they sort of good look at the back like that, dances you where you stop, and then he starts off again and sort of beats you sometimes. He's a clever little player, that guy.
Yes, he is. That was Malott, the outside linebacker, number 57, that Jamona put the move on.
Here's one where you wish they had made the first down. At least I always did. I hated second inches.
Yeah, because you figure they're probably going to get it anyway, and it just means one more play you have to play for.
Go into a short yardage. Somebody might break through in a short yardage for 40 yards. If they throw a pass, you know, supporters fall everywhere in the secondary.
Another one of those things where if they threw a deep pass, you just soon have them get to the 9-yard line on him as the 13.
Scores elsewhere. The Rams working on Green Bay, but Packers are back 23-14. How are they stopping those great receivers? New England and Baltimore all knotted. Cush might be right. Second inches. Jamona. Harrington. Pro set. Back to throw. A lot of time. Ron Smith, and it's knocked away. Good defensive play. No flags. Jarris White really made a good play on the deep sidelines.
As good as you can play it at cornerback right there.
That's also a long throw for a quarterback. It's not, you know, the quick slanting job coming across the middle. The ball doesn't travel as far.
Jaworski's getting a lot more time to throw in the second half, Tom, than he did in the first. They got to him twice in the first half and hurried him a couple other times. But he has had all day here in the second half to look downfield, take his time, and look, he's 17 of 23, 278 yards and 1 touchdown.
14:08 left in the ball game. Sampleton and Vito Cab, the Penn Stater, are 2 of the 3 tight ends in the ball game. The other one just went in motion. Montgomery waiting for something to happen, and he gets inside the 40. Matt Mendenhall chasing from behind. Boy, Wilbert's one of those guys that motors up behind the blockers and then waits.
You don't have to get a great block to help that guy right there. Both Spagnola, the tight end, and Sampleton, who came across in motion, 2 of the 3 tight ends in there at that time, got blocks on the corner.
First time he ever really got into a game was against the Giants. and everybody blinked at halftime, and he took the second half kickoff 90-some-odd yards. He did it so fast, nobody got a chance to figure out who it was.
Everett needs what, about 700 yards this season to break Steve Van Buren's club record?
That's right. And nobody wants him to do it more than the great Steve Van Buren. Carmichael into the slot. Looked like Ron Smith might have jumped a little bit. The outside receiver takes us a kick pass, and now will step out of bounds to 26, but I believe, wow. And Malott really knocked Ron Smith into the sidelines. Linebackers are a bad bunch of guys.
We've got some of our equipment down there, too, to boot.
Yeah, but equipment's all right. You can patch it up. People are different.
Ron Smith is the guy they call Mr. January. Number 2 draft choice of the Los Angeles Rams. Helped them beat the Cowboys in an NFC Championship game with a touchdown. Scored against the Steelers in the Super Bowl on a touchdown. Look at that shot. Got them all.
Got a couple of our guys.
Well, that's what you get for embarrassing the outside linebacker like Jamona did.
That's it. You're right.
Putting that big move on Malott. He's just been grinding his teeth for the last 3 plays saying, I got to get back at somebody.
You know, Joe Paterno's probably watching this up State College. He probably said, boy, there's my guy, my linebacker from Penn State.
You know what? He played 7 different positions at Penn State. Malott did, and linebacker wasn't one of them.
Who did he play? When he played for Genghis Khan, what position did he play? First and 15. There was a little motion there by Smith. He'll never do that again. Slot formation to the right. Jaworski back. We need blitz, and he's going to be dropped. Number 52, Okowitz, and Malott both in there. In fact, there were a lot of Redskins after Ron.
Well, Okowitz got what you happily call in the linebacker union a no touch on this blitz. Watching number 52, the middle linebacker, have a game going right here with the defensive tackle, Perry Brooks. They blew it right there. The guard Perot or the center should have slid out to pick, but Okowitz was not touched. You love it.
Third sack.
Number 3.
And it's 2nd and 27. The Eagles have shown more offensive formations and splits and changes than I think I've seen in all the seasons that Dick Vermeil's been here. They really have opened up the bag. 1 remaining back. Here's the draw play to Perry Harrington, who's not going to go anywhere. That's the safe call. 44, Matt Mendenhall making the tackle. 12:27 on the clock and ticking.
Good reaction that time by the big guy Mendenhall as you see him leave now as they'll bring in the rush team.
He's moved from right defensive end of a year ago to the left side now, playing that strong side defensive end. It seems to carry it pretty well. You got to be very big and strong to play that left side. Of course, Manley's the quicker one. Here's a big third down play in 27.
Take a look at the end zone right here now. What Jaworski's looking at from the shotgun the other way. Look at how that defense is spread out from that shotgun with all those receivers up on the line.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Jaworski being chased and sacked. 78 came roaring in. Tony McGee.
That's what they got him for.
That's it.
From New England.
Always had that good first move in the pass rush. Well, this was quite a series in reverse, if you like, offense, but the Redskins played defense the way you should. They'll get the football now somewhere around the 25 or 30-yard line. With Nelms, maybe better.
A couple years up there in New England, Tommy, that McGee had 12, 13 sacks a season. Led him for 6 or 7 straight years, I believe.
Well, this is going to be some division, isn't it? With Dallas, Washington, Philadelphia, New York. They're beating Atlanta today. And St. Louis. They're not going to lose too many either outside of this division. Here's a great putt by Maxie Reniger. Nelms chased over to the 20, reverses, gets a block. Nelms, now he's being hemmed in and drilled on the 22-yard line. Big Slater, the offensive snapper, stayed with it, made a good tackle getting under that. Nelms trying to get some yardage. And now the Redskins want to get some points. 27 from a few eons ago. But you can see what the Redskins are trying to play catch-up passing football against one of the best secondaries.
Well, that's a heck of a stat right there. Anytime you hold them below 50%, I think that shows more than total yardage. Because a lot of times your team will be behind and they'll be throwing anyway, you know. And so I think the percentage stat is the best.
Only 5 teams are under 50%. In the anti-department. You saw him. Washington one of them and Philadelphia the other. There's a long pass by Theismann. He's wide open. That's Brown. That's Charlie Brown. He ain't no clown, Charlie Brown. He is some. Look at this. Another leaping spike at the end zone line. And Herm defenders just couldn't keep up with him. He has 4.45 speed, a 78-yard touchdown bomb against the secondary. We told you does not allow that to happen.
Theismann got good time. We're just about to say, and I was going to say it during the series, it's getting to be crunch time right now for the Redskins. If they didn't get something out of this drive, they were going to be in a bit of trouble, and it didn't take Theismann long. Look at the protection he had. This is just a matter right here of number 87, Charlie Brown, outrunning the cornerback, Herman Edwards. Edwards made a jump forward, but he was 2 or 3 steps back that time. You can't beat speed.
What's this leaping spike here by Charlie Brown? Whoa! Some player, that young man. Really, in his rookie year, he was hurt all of last year. Mosley's kick is good, and I told you, we got a football game. Go now. If you're going to go to the refrigerator, go crack it now and come back. Eagles 27, Washington 21. 11 minutes left.
Video difficulties. Please stand by.
Charlie Brown from Theismann. It is 27-21. A lot of time left. And a young rookie, Jeff Hayes, the punter from North Carolina, is kicking off. Hoover and Murray waiting for it. This will be Murray taking it, stepping it down in the end zone. I'm sure of that. The Eagles have 80 yards to either score or use up some time, and be very careful. Score time, 14-13. Now Atlanta scored on a fumble run in, and then the extra point was blocked. The Giants lead by a point. Sounds like their defense is still playing, huh, for Perkins?
Anytime you got Lawrence Taylor out there, you're going to have a pretty good defense. What happened here right now is the Redskins won't go away for the Eagles. It looks like they almost had him put away. Look, now it's caveman football. Usually it is between Detroit and Chicago.
Can't be bad weather. They're indoors up there, aren't they?
Mike Ditka making his initial regular season start with the Bears as head coach.
It's a shocker. St. Louis shutting out New Orleans. Tampa Bay having a lot of trouble in Minnesota. Here's the toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. I have a feeling that Redskin defense is really going to hit it a lick right now.
They got a tremendous lift in that 87-yard touchdown.
Boy, that kid can run. Charlie Brown. Just note that one in the back of your mind. South Carolina State. When you lose a lot of football games, South Carolina State, you've got people like him running around. Liebenstein, Todd, the big fellow from Nevada, Las Vegas, the rookie's in there, made a part of that tackle. Now, Jerry Wampler, the offensive coordinator, the line coach for the Eagles, has got to get perfect blocking pattern. Second down and 8. Jaworski back. Going outside to Carmichael. Carmichael catches it. First down time. Joe Lavender hustling him out of bounds. Joe has come back and played even with that pulled hamstring and played pretty well, hasn't he?
These two guys, Carmichael and Lavender, played against each other a whole lot of times in their careers. Jaworski looking over for the signal from the sideline.
Good numbers for Ron Jaworski. Took this team to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, where Oakland beat them. But he takes adversity. That's when you judge a guy for real quality, and he takes bad times as well as he does good times. He's quite a person. Jaworski being rushed. He's going to be dropped. Malott is after him, but he unloads the ball over Montgomery's head and Malott's head. He was chased by Olkowitz and Monty Coleman.
Pretty heads-up play right there by Jaworski. Didn't try to make something out of nothing because he really didn't have anything going on that little screen pass he wanted to throw out there. His interceptions last year went up to 20. That was one thing he wanted to cut down. That was tops in his career from 12 the year before.
Getting the play, it's signaled in from Coach Dick Vermeil, or one of, sometimes it's the quarterback Pisarcik that gives you the signal, sometimes backfield Coach Becker. They no longer get caught with not getting the play off. The time, 10:01. You see that in the box, the insert. Montgomery. 36-yard line. Good defense. Olkowitz in on another tackle.
A good fill from the middle that time because they looked like they had something going. Had a block down, and Stan Walters pulled out in front of Montgomery. It looked pretty good for a minute, but that tough little Olkowitz came in from his middle linebacking spot and made the hit.
Redskin defensive line has played and labored hard and long this afternoon. I think Butts is getting his first relief on a very hot day, and I'm on the floor of that stadium. It's got to be 90, 95 degrees and humid. Manley's been in there all the way. Perry Brooks has been in there all the way. I believe Butts is back in there at left tackle now, isn't he?
He is.
Tony McGee's in there. And getting part of Jaworski. McGee came around the corner, and Butts got part of the tackle too. Butts is just such a load to take straight on. He just went right through the blocking pattern.
Tony McGee, number 78, come in from the left side. A little tackle stunt in the middle there. You see him looping. You see Butts was down at one time, got back up, ended up getting in on the play. Good hustle by him, and the punt's in the air here on 4th down.
The punt by Runniger, taken by Nelms. Look out. Mike Nelms, who can run with it and does, spins over into Eagle territory. A great punt run back. An Eagle is on the field, and I'm telling you, the Redskins are not going to quit. 8:45 left. Al Chesley finally made the tackle. The Redskins are in this football game. It's 27-21 Philadelphia. Personal problems behind when it comes opening day and Sunday. It's 27-21 Philadelphia over Washington. But Nelms just had a 28-yard return for Coach Joe Gibbs, you see right there. And they're in Eagle territory with a lot of time, 8:45 left, and down by 6.
Regardless of what the coach has said beforehand, opener is really important to the players. You go into every season with high hopes. You know, the 49ers went from 6-10 to Super Bowl champs last year. Every player in the back of his mind thinks they can do that, and they can't get off and get it going and win them all unless they win this first one.
Good point, Wayne. First down. Joe Theismann has been a splendid quarterback. Sprints out to the right. He's Warren, finally tackled by Herman Edwards, but he sneaked all the way against the formation.
There's no defense for that, Tom. There's really not. A guy like Theismann just buys that extra time, slides out of trouble, gets another look, slides some more. You got guys running crossing patterns like Warren was from his tight end. You're playing a zone, there's gaps in it, and if he's got enough time, he's going to get the ball to him.
I watched the Eagles during the week and pattern on about Wednesday because the sneak back, everybody drops out and then looks and helps somebody else. They forget about that guy coming late. A 29-yard pass. Theismann, hot as the day. Going for it all, going for it. Ricky Watt. Hogan. Theismann got the clock stopped, 7:55. Boy, it looked like the Redskins weren't in this in the first quarter. Then it looked like they were going to catch and run the Eagles out. Then the Eagles came back and took the third period. And fourth period sort of been jump ball right now.
If you're in that Eagle defensive huddle and up there at the line of scrimmage right now, what you're thinking is you want to get a good chuck on all these receivers, take the legal chuck and prevent them from getting off the line real quick at this point right now.
Second down. Reverse throw. Logan chasing it. Dumps it off. That's Wilbur Jackson with the ball. Wilbur inside the 10-yard line. Carl Hairston from behind with Brenard Wilson making that tackle. That's a first down. It's awfully close to a first down. Boy, what a good call. Logan fired when nobody came down. The safety man went ahead and was released and almost got Theismann.
Here it is again in this situation now. Defense backed up a little bit. Theismann drops back, rolls out. They react that way. And they're really going to hustle down there because the game's on the line. So they flow that way a little bit. A throwback. Now look at the people out there. Wilbur Jackson makes a pretty good run right here too. Jackson's got good hands. He was a receiver when he first came to Alabama for Bear Bryant.
Riggins is in the ball game. Theismann's the quarterback. It's third and very short. The three tight ends there. Riggins powers inside the 5-yard line. Is trying for the goal line. Second effort.
Well, we warned everybody that about the third time he carried the ball that sometime in the fourth quarter, if he was still in the ball game, he'd still be running the same way. You saw it right there. He is tough.
And think about this. The 14 points that we saw before that long touchdown pass to Charlie Brown is what the Eagles usually give up average or less per day. The Redskins have 21 and are breathing on going ahead in this ball game. Ball's at the 2. It's first. It's a touchdown. It's a tie game now, and Mosley's coming with a big leg. Riggins scores.
Straight ahead blocking up front by Jeff Bostic, Mark May. Over on that right side, a little help from George Stark. Watch this. Here's Riggins. And Fred Dean, the guard, come over and got a block. And look at Theismann. Look at Theismann up in the air back here.
This would be a big win for a team that finished hot last year. Here's Mosley, straight on. It is suddenly a Washington lead, but there's a lot of time left. As we said, 6:17 left now for the Eagles to come back. And they have a little man with no shoe on one foot that can hit them from 52. Anybody's game. Right now, it's Washington 28, Eagles 27. 6:17. Murray back to take Jeff Hughes' kickoff. Will he kick it deep? The rookie kicks it. Boy, he gets a hang time. This looks like a punt. Murray, 3 yards deep in the end zone, is bringing it out. Oh, he's tripped up. Stumbles over his own blockers. Good coverage by the Redskins. About the 14-yard line is where Jaworski will take over. Didier, the tight end, makes the tackle. There's the scoring drive. What are Theismann's numbers? Theismann having some kind of a throwing day. That was some drive. Didn't take much time, which maybe you'd rather use a little bit of time and burn some up, but he got the points, which are more important. Theismann is what?
20 for 30 now. Close to 300 yards, 296 and 3 touchdowns.
And no interceptions. Ball's on the 14, 1st and 10. The toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. Skins stretch it out on the line of scrimmage, maybe give up a couple of yards. Good defense. Now earlier in the game, the Eagles were throwing a lot on 1st down.
Midway through or just about to the first half, they had thrown 10 out of 17 times on 1st down. I think they wanted to get a little room down here, Tom, before they put it up in the air.
Give Montgomery about a foot.
And now they've got themselves in a passing situation. And the Skins know it.
Olkowitz made another tackle. He's made about a dozen. 5:30 on the clock. Eagles still have their 3 timeouts. Jaworski, quick drop. Across the middle, knocked and spiked by number 52. Olkowitz making a real good defensive play.
Oh, he's a good football player. 6 foot, 230 pounds. In his 4th year from Maryland. Averaged 13 tackles a game last season for the Skins. He is always around the football.
Plays with braces on, with a bad back, bad knee. He plays like the linebackers used to for Detroit. Lucci, Walker, and the Banditos. It's 3rd down, and a big 3rd down for the Eagles. In the opening game of the season, they trailed by 8 points, 3rd and 9. It's Canfield in motion on the shotgun. Canfield breaking out to the outside, going to get the ball. Canfield, but he's not. It's going to be awfully close on the 1st down stick. Here's going to be a decision time. Monty Coleman caught Canfield from behind, and Canfield used to be a sprinter at Kansas.
Well, he's the kind of guy that the Eagles use like Preston Pearson used at Dallas. A man out of the backfield.
Do you go for it if it's short, which looks like it's going to be close?
I'd hate to make that decision right now.
You can't win with a punter. You can't steal first base, can you?
No, you can't.
5:16 on the clock. You figure your defense is going to be able to get the ball back right away, perhaps.
Get it back for you.
Foot, huh?
They might hold it for a while here. They might try to get the Redskins off sides on this punt.
Nelms is back to take it. You know how dangerous he is. Runniger is back to kick it. Now LeMaster has faked it and taken a snap, the up back, and run with it before. He did it this time. This time they caught him. I don't believe he did it. The snap was low, and he fumbled the snap on the fake.
They knew it was coming. They certainly weren't surprised by it. All over him.
Didier, the young tight end, they've got so many on this team that look like they're good, made that tackle. I gamble with Wilbert Montgomery on that play. I don't gamble with Frank LeMaster. 1st and 10. If the Redskins hold on to the game, the ball, they could hold on to the game. Accordion slip. Inside trap by the tight end. Boy, Riggins still on his feet. Inside the 50, still on his feet. Man, is he in shape this year. 4th quarter, he is a load. We told you that in the 1st period. Wayne, you brought that up. It's bad enough tackling him early.
Joe Gibbs talked to him, last year. He thought, the way he performed early after the year's layoff, that perhaps his career was over. And he said he had a talk with him. And Riggins started coming through. and has improved every ball game. Started working hard. We mentioned the weights, and he had 3 guys on his back on that play, and he's probably not done yet.
Second down 1. Redskins have refused to quit. Oh, this time good defense. Clark, Robinson, and I believe Denny Harrison. Stop Riggins in his tracks.
Isn't his balance amazing, no, Tom? He got hit right there just as he took the hand off a yard behind the line of scrimmage by a couple of guys, and they still didn't get him down.
That's right. 4:04 and kicking, with the Redskins defense calling that timeout that gave Franklin a chance to kick that field goal, that 44-yarder just before halftime. It would have been so disappointing had they lost by something like that, but to come back like they have and now have the ball game perhaps within their grasp, that's exciting for them. Theismann back to throw. Now he's going to run with it. Never did want to throw it. Holds onto the ball but almost fumbles it. It's going to be a 4th down. Is there a flag on the field?
There was. I think it just dropped out and the official picked it up. I don't think it means anything.
Somebody ripped it out of the official's trousers.
And they're going to be short, huh?
4th and 2. You bring in Mosley and cinch it.
This is pretty important. I don't know whether you cinch it or not. All it does mean, though, that if he makes it, the Eagles have to score a touchdown to win.
That's right. That would be large. You take a chance that he always has gotten the ball up pretty well. Would be hard to block a Mosley kick, right?
Well, historically, the straight-ahead guys get the ball up a little quicker than the soccer-style guys.
I'd hate to be snapping on this. Who's the snapper? He's the guy that, in that very dark projection room next week, will be the one that is the hero or the GOAT. Bostic, the former Eagle, the last cut by the Eagles a couple of years ago, the young center. Timeout now. Mosley has kicked so many of them.
Mosley's been in the league 11 years, so he's no stranger to this situation. 9 of them he's played with the Skins. He's been here before.
It's been some football game. Bill Friel, our able spotter. Bill, you get a lot of publicity these days, buddy. I saw some good articles about spotter of the year and the decade. We try to keep up with it, but it's been this kind of a game. The players are having trouble, and these great coaching staffs.
Keep in mind that they have. This is a special teams play right here. The Eagles aren't in there with their defense. They've got their field goal and their extra point block team in there.
And the holder is Mr. Theismann.
The secret to this, if you're on defense, is try to get penetration as much as you can up the middle, load up the middle, and then get your hands in the air and hope you come up with something.
All right, now Denny Harrison is what, 6'8.5" or 6'9"?
That's right. Leonard Mitchell's 6'8". Is he? They got him. They must have him in there.
Got him in there.
And then from the outside, you bring your cornerbacks around, close around those blocking backs, and bring them in shallow. Hope that they can dive and time it up and get a hand on the football. So 2 ways to block it.
I remember in the old days, they used to put people up on the shoulders, the Big Daddy Lipscomb. Then they outlawed that. You couldn't build a pyramid, a human pyramid. Mosley's kicking from the 20 for a 30-yard field goal attempt. That would put the Eagles a touchdown back, as Wayne Walker told you. Boy, he didn't waste any time.
He got it.
Drilled, dead solid, perfect.
It'll make him feel a little bit better, not only because of the results of this ball game, but the fact that he's fighting for his job with Dan Miller, a rookie that the Redskins got on their roster, although he's taxied today.
Well, that 30-yarder, he just took the wedge out and hit it, didn't he?
Sometimes it's the short ones sometimes that bother you more than those mid ones.
All right, it's 31-27, 2:48 left. I believe the Eagles still have their timeouts if the Redskins use that last one, unless the Eagles just tried to bother him by calling that timeout. We'll have that checked. Did you see?
No, you've worked in this stadium a whole lot more than I have, and I keep looking around to see where the timeout's on the board, but I don't think they mark them here.
The Eagles still do have 3 then. Don't forget, U.S. Open Tennis from Flushing Meadow, New York, following this game. This game is not over. Yvonne Lindo, the man with all the money, against Jimmy Connors, the man with the pride. Here's the kicker, young Jeff Hayes. His first game, he can't believe this league. It's the sidewinder, bouncy. Murray takes it up the 1 deep in the end zone. He's going to come out with it. Murray's being hit back on the 9 or 10-yard line, and the Washington special teams have won their game. Alvin Garrett down under that. Jimmy Connors and Yvonne Lindell following this, the U.S. Open Men's Finals.
You'll see as much intensity in that tennis match as you've seen out here this afternoon between the Redskins and the Eagles. Both of those men want that title.
They look to me like they were a little bigger. They would have probably played football. A little bit vicious inside.
Lindell is pretty good size.
All right, the Eagles have to go 90 yards. The field goal will get them nothing. So they're thinking touchdown in 2:39. Long way to go. Jaworski straight back. Being rushed, dumps it to Perry Harrington in the flat. Harrington will get about 7 yards. A little trouble and then out of bounds. Monty Coleman chasing him out.
Oh, look at that. The Packers have come back. They lead the Rams now in the fourth quarter, 28-23. That's almost as good a ball game as we have here.
Lofton and JJ must have jumped over the goalpost. Detroit, 17-7. The caveman division, they said. That's what Mike Burke, our producer, said in the truck. Second down and 8. I'm sorry, I gave the receiver more yardage than he earned. Harrington threw. Now he's going outside to Smith. Smith takes it, goes out of bounds, stops the clock with 2:26 left. And the Eagles will move the sticks.
Tom, you played cornerback a lot of years in this league. On that pattern right there, Smith running the out pattern, and Lavender has been around a while. The best way you can cover that, the way the cornerbacks were taught in teams that I played for, were get there at the same time the ball does. You can't take a chance on trying to cut in front of that one.
See, in our day, you'd be able to come up and at least bang them. Now you can't touch them once they pass that 5-yard.
This whole game is played on the corners now. If you can't cover on the corners, you can't win in this league.
Final score, Cincinnati banging Houston, 27-6. First and 10. Now Jaworski's got to throw it on every play. Spagnola drilled at the 27-yard line by Olkowitz, but it's a good catch. And now there's a little bit of a fight for the ball as Olkowitz goes after the tight end. Flag is down, but we don't know who caused it. Olkowitz thinks it was Spagnola's fault, but a Yaley wouldn't kick you, would he?
Not unless you weren't looking, probably.
Unsportsmanlike. Unsportsmanlike.
All right, good call by the referee. A little fur should fly when there's a close ball game like this on a hot afternoon. Good call. It's Fred Wyatt that made that decision. Olkowitz just breathed a little bit.
Just settle down. Both teams settle down a little bit over there, because a penalty like that, one way or the other, could decide this ball game. Let's see what happened right here. Olkowitz, I don't know how many tackles he's had today. We don't have that stat in there, but it's been a ton. He might be chewing on his leg there, for all you know.
No harm, no foul. Jaworski back, going to the outside to Harold Carmichael. Carmichael, wow. He's knocked out of bounds by Lavender, but he picks up the first down yardage, it looks like. They're moving him. The Eagles have a little something going with 2:07 left. They'll get a complete pass. He can come down the middle with one now and get a timeout that'll stop the clock, and he won't have to waste one, right?
Those coaches on the side now, that most coaches now are saying, Tom, that the most important play in a pro football game at this stage of the game is a quarterback sack.
Okay, good thinking. 4 straight completions for number 7. He's had some day. Carmichael in the slot left. Drop back, going all the way up the sidelines for Wilbert Montgomery. Overthrowing Wilbert at the 26-yard line. And the yellow flag is down. They're calling either Tony Peters or Murphy.
I think it was Peters. He pulled one of your old tricks when you used to have to cover Lenny Moore. Kind of had him boxed in on the sideline and slowed down a little bit.
I didn't know that was against the rules.
Number 23.
Well, you can argue this one. You know, and if you're a defensive player, have a defensive background, you will. If you're an offensive player, you argue the other way.
Smart call, though, because Wilbert Montgomery has the speed that gets on top of you so quickly that you can get caught by him. He runs right up on your shoes.
Jaworski pump faked. Now see, kind of got him boxed in right there. There was a little bump.
Boy, it's tough to play secondary anymore. Big break for the Eagles, though. 2:01 on the clock. Jaworski taking his time, rolling left, being chased. Manley has him. Dexter Manley makes the big sack at midfield. What a play by 72. The roll took him right into Manley's hands.
It did. A half rollout that time by Jaworski. To the left. Dexter Manley working against Stan Walters, the left offensive tackle. Big, strong, wide outside rush. Here he comes. Walters goes down around him. He got no help from Perry Harrington there, who could have picked up. Jaworski is down. It's 31-27 Washington.
Over 72,000 showed up at Vet Stadium. It was hot. Some have thought the game was over at one stage or other and perhaps left. Wrong again. It's 31-27 with just under 2 minutes left. The Eagles with a 2nd and 20 on the Washington 48. And they trail, of course, by 4.
Got to be patient here and not trying to get it all back at once.
6 sacks for the Redskins. Long calling. Jaworski. The twist is up front. The stunt. Jaworski going to the outside. Spagnola has it at the 30-yard line. Spagnola stopping the clock and making the catch. Coleman and Peters chased him out.
Great throw and great protection up front that time by the Eagle offensive line. They've been victimized 6 times this afternoon. Jaworski has gone down 6 times as a result of sacks. But this time, regardless of the fact that the Redskins have a stun on there, look at those 2 tackles looping right there. No penetration. Jaworski sat back in the pocket, waited for Spagnola to come open at the sideline. Picture perfect play.
Boy, Jaworski was really cool, too. He is very calm under what I would call a cute situation. Now 1 timeout. He's going to use it. Big play coming up on 3rd and 3.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think you do here? Do you run, try to get the first down here on 3rd and 2? And
a lot of time. 1:51 left. I think you got enough time to get the first. You need 4 plays to play with, don't you? To get into the other guy's mind.
I think that's exactly what will happen.
You got Wilbert Montgomery. You got Ron Smith. If you want to go, you wouldn't want to waste one. You'd hate to go 4th and a foot and try to get it. If you're going to get it, get it.
Well, they might throw a short pass. San Diego does it. San Francisco does it in these situations.
Well, they think those are running plays.
Long handoffs, they call them.
What a football game. 6 sacks, and yet on a couple of key situations, the Eagles have blocked extremely well for number 7. There's Rich Pettibone. What do you think's going through the defensive genius of the Skins? He's thinking he's rather thin, I would say. If there's anything that might harm the Redskins in a real race for a flag, would be that their depth. I don't think they're quite as deep as, of course, any coach wants them to be deeper. But
I think he's probably telling his linebackers over there, and Murphy, who calls the defensive signals, alert everybody that they've still got 31 yards to go before they beat us because they need the touchdown.
Well, I would go to work on somebody that's hurt. Now, Bird Lavender's a little bit strained. I would go to work on a corner, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that's what happens.
We're going to see. It's 3rd and a long 2. You can call it 3 yards to go. Wilson taking his time. He's back to throw on 3rd down. Dumps it over. This is Canfield. Canfield has the first and gets inside the 25. Jerris White making the tackle.
Pretty courageous call. Like we talked about, the long handoff system. That's what they call it.
See, Canfield has the good speed. He drives at you so hard, you got to let him at least have a yard or so, and then he dumps the ball to him.
And that's not a bad defensive play by the Redskins. They gave him a few yards. There's 1:44 to go in this one. Keep in mind that the Eagles still have to get in the end zone.
340 yards of passing. This could be the best game that Jaworski has ever had yardage-wise. 25 of 33. The 1 touchdown. Of course, if you don't win the game, it doesn't mean much.
I know we got a hot one here, Brookie, but you and I are going to be in Cleveland next week.
They don't like
the Eagles play the Browns.
They don't like the Eagles over there either.
We've got a couple of new linebackers to look at over there. Tom Cousineau for Cleveland and Chip Banks, who might be the best athlete to come in the league and play linebacker since Jerry Robinson.
Don't forget, the rest of you will see Dallas against St. Louis in the first game. Then the second game, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, the Super Bowl champions, against the Denver Broncos. And I'll tell you, Reeves has one good football team out there, in the AFC. That's going to be some contest for that doubleheader. Also, Washington at Tampa Bay. All you Skins people can watch your team that I think is going to be really exciting this year. Play Tampa Bay. Timeouts left. The Skins have 2 left. The Eagles have but 1 timeout left. 1:44 on the clock. And they've got a first down at the 24. Shotgun. Shotgun formation, big rush. Jaworski screening. Wow, Coleman was into the screen pattern and had Wilbert Montgomery before the ball got there.
It's good defense that time by the Redskins. Tony McGee over at left defensive end that time got a good rush, and he got back in on Jaws really before he wanted to release. He had to dump it early, and then the linebacker was sitting over there right in the middle of the screen. It's good team defense.
That's like a waste pitch by a pitcher. It was a two-striker, and Jaworski just drilled it through on into nowhere. One timeout for Philadelphia. And that's extra point, touchdown, and what have you. It's 31-27. And the field goal by Mosley. It's a 4-pointer. They need a touchdown. The shotgun. Jaworski calmly throwing. Has Canfield. Canfield at the 5. Canfield still on his feet. And Monty Coleman finally tackles him on the 5-yard line. What a throw by Jaworski.
Oh, what a great find, too, by Jaworski to find the back running with the linebacker. Boy, he looked like he knew something right away there.
They don't want to waste a timeout. It's hurry-up time. 1:16 on the clock. Now they're going to stop the clock. Let's see if anybody was offsides. The officials, Wyatt, will have to preside over this right now. The people have gone crazy. But remember, it's a touchdown. It can't be a field goal.
Or Billy Canfield, another clutch catch, 2 of them.
Remember what Vermeil said? I have won opening games and not won the division championship, and I've lost opening games and still won the championship. I don't want to put it all on the opening game, but I want to win it. Jaworski arguing with the sidelines. People don't know whether they're in or out of the game. There is confusion. Watch out, Bednarik will be in the game.
Well, keep in mind that the clock is moving. The 30-second clock is moving also. They're down to 18 seconds. They've got them out of there, so they're going to have time.
Jaworski is not happy with the formation yet or the personnel. Now Ron Smith comes on. If he doesn't get into a proper position, they're going to lose a timeout. Spagnola's in motion. Let's see if the flags fly. It's going to be a clock stopper. But Smith came out and almost lined up as a sleeper and tried to crawl into the formation. Look at Ron.
You know, that basically that almost could be called illegal. I think there's a law against that, putting in a sleeper. There was not a flanker over here to the Eagles' left, the Redskins' right. He came on late, lined up wide. Mark Murphy, who calls the defensive signal, spotted him. He was wide open. There was no one over. He had to change the defense and then run out here and cover him.
Mike Quick is in there, number 82. Here comes number 88, Spagnola out. This looks like a subway job in New York City at 5 p.m. Now they've got 11 on the field. No remaining backs. Jaworski comes from the up. Going for Carroll Carmichael. He catches the ball for a touchdown on his back. Carmichael volleyballed it and caught it on his back. There are no flags. It's going to be an Eagle touchdown. The whole team is on the end zone deck. Carmichael is still down, but he has the ball.
What an advantage to have a 6'8" wide receiver to throw to in that situation.
Here's a guy that has been here since 1971. He has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. He is a classy football player, but he is a giant, especially in the end zone. Good gosh. Tony Franklin for the extra point. People are sort of tearing things up now. Philadelphia does like a winner.
Watch Jaworski after Carmichael comes up with that ball. Working against Joe Lavender. It was jump ball in the end zone between Lavender and Carmichael.
For either one of these teams that comes out with the final point at the last roll, what an impetus into game number 2. What a way to start your season.
Ball game isn't over. There's still 1 minute and 4 seconds left to play.
Was that some drive, 90 yards?
It was.
144.
And the Redskins can tie things up with a field goal.
Sid Gilman, don't tell me that getting grandpops back on the offensive side doesn't help a quarterback and the head coach and everybody.
That's just a great drive. They went 90 yards on that drive for the score in 11 plays, and they did it in 1 minute 44 seconds. Now they probably wish they'd have taken a little longer.
That's right.
But they'll take it.
To Nelms. This is going to be a little short. Nelms is going to take it. He doesn't take anything easily. At the 15 to the 20, look out. Nelms up over the 35 to the 37-yard line. Now we've got a lot of time left yet. 58 seconds. The Skins have 2 timeouts left. A field goal by Washington, and they could tie the football game. Oh, come on, folks. We can't take this for the whole season. Here's more reaction by the quarterback, the calm, composed one. Theismann with Monk in motion. Rush settles down. Jerry Robinson and number 81 Art Monk tangle at the 45, but no yellow flag came.
Tells you a little something about Jerry Robinson's ability. The linebacker, though, doesn't. He's 20 yards downfield on that pass play.
He's faster than quarterbacks used to be when I played. Of course, everybody was faster than quarterbacks when I played. There, the offensive signals being run in, being signaled off. Well, Coach Gibbs, who has done one heck of a job at this team. They've got a turnaround project going in the nation's capital. 52 seconds left. Williams in motion, going outside, taking the pass. The rookie has it. He's nailed by Robinson. He did get out of bounds, and there's an argument about whether he got out of bounds or not. A pickup of 5 and a stoppage of the clock. 46 seconds left. It's 34-31. We talked about a teeter-totter, 2 teams on a teeter-totter, one going up, one going down. I don't know how you could lose this game and go down. There's got to be so many positive things. But somebody has to lose, right?
It's going to be terribly disheartening to the team that does lose it, I'll guarantee you that.
Roll left by Theismann's got Monk, and Monk has the catch. The clock is still running now on the 46.
Grace under pressure that time. I'll tell you, rookie by Theismann.
How about rolling? How about rolling?
Rolling out, throwing on the run, throwing kind of 3-quarter, and just buried it in there. Look at this rollout. Look at him set it. Look at him throw that ball here. Now, Edwards was claiming that Monk had trapped that ball, but from that angle it looked like it was a legitimate catch.
The defensive back is always going to say trap. If he'd have jumped up over him, you know. Theismann is over 300 yards. 2 cool quarterbacks have really cleaned off the passes and thrown some beauties today.
Marion Campbell doing a little substituting, taking Dennis Harrison out, give him a little blow, and some of the big guys out. So he got some fresh people in there going after Theismann.
This is the league's best defense. It's given up 31 points. Of course, 5 of those wins down the stretch of the Redskins, they scored over 30 points against some good people, too. They get Joe Washington back in another month. It'll be really tough. Theismann at 313 yards, Jaworski at 371. You can see the timeouts.
He's got 4 down linemen in there. Marion Campbell does on defense. One of them is Ken Clark, the nose tackle.
I figured to give Mosley a legitimate shot, they've got to get to around the 31-yard line, don't you think?
That's about it.
And they're now at the 46-yard line. Need one more pass down to a 15-yarder. The blitz is on, but it's handled. Oh, he pulled a string and got it. Not enough for the first. They may have to burn that timeout. 20 seconds left. Tackle by Harmon's tackle by LeMaster. Quickly now. 21 seconds. Overthrow, and the flags are flying. Let's see if the penalty is going to be on defense or offense. Was Carl Hairston back, or was he just offsides a little? Ooh. That's like a timeout. Stops that clock. 5 yards, gets closer. Short checkoff now, and you got a chance for a field goal to tie the baby.
Yeah, right now, with 20 seconds to go, they need about 5 more yards to get in Mosley's range. Right defensive end, over on the left of your screen. From offsides just before the snap of the ball. Theismann figured he had a free one, and he just threw this one away.
Mosley is in that battle, as we mentioned, with young Miller. He's on that other sideline over there. if he's breathing. First and 10. Theismann. Big rush. Theismann going to run for it. Theismann's going to run a good tackle at the 30-yard line. A diving tackle. I believe it was Jerry Robinson. Whoa. Now they're going to have to use it. Now they got to use that timeout. 6 seconds on the clock. That might have been a game-saving tackle. If Robinson hadn't handled Theismann, he might have gotten inside the 25-yard line.
Robinson, one of the few linebackers in the league that's going to be able to make that tackle right there. Theismann was cutting it back up inside towards the middle, and he had nothing but turf in front of him for a while. But then, Brookie, if he had to scramble too much longer, they'd have been out of time, and they'd have been in trouble.
Between the ranges of 40 and 49 yards, Mosley for a career is over 50%. 63 of 119. Used to be an Eagle kicker before he took his van and applied his trade somewhere else.
And besides, as we mentioned before, Tom, besides ball game pressure, he's in a battle for his kicking job.
This might be a good way to cement your job with the boss. This will be from the 38-yard line. We're talking about a 48-yard field goal.
Right in the middle of the field, too.
And there's no breeze to help you or hinder you. A 48-yard field goal attempt would tie the football game with 6 seconds left. Oh, he's got enough foot. Good gosh. We got an OT.
We got it. No time on the clock.
Now look at that Redskin side-eye. Look at them come over to the kicker, who's battling a rookie. And I mean, it was dead straight. He did it like he was at practice.
Boy, that is, you just don't know how much that pressure that is on a person. Look at these guys. They thought they had it in the bag. And it's been that kind of day. As we said before, the Redskins just won't go away.
I like the strategy by both teams, though. Yep. There's been a lot of maneuvering, a lot of chess moves.
Well, watch the kicker. Good follow through. He knows he's got it right away.
Remember, I got him fined one time, you know, because I said he had holy socks on and they were his favorite socks. So he gets fined for being out of uniform by the league. Here's the coin toss. A 15-minute OT period. The Redskins will get the football. Louis Jamona and Carl Harrison are deciding on which end of the field. They'll take that to the right. So we're starting all over. We've gone 60 minutes, and we got a 34 game. Two great coaches, two great teams. Darn, we got a ball game. Brookshire and Walker back in Philadelphia, where it's 34-34 after regulation play. Sudden death overtime period. First team that scores gets it. The Redskins will receive the kickoff. And, of course, the first team that notches wins. We're checking to see how many timeouts.
Each team has 3, Tom, the same as they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those will be very important. Again, we've seen Mosley now late connect on 2 big field goals. We know that Tony Franklin, the young man you're watching right there, has hit from 59 as a pro. Today he has hit from, I think, 44 just before halftime. He's hit all his extra points. Both kickers are involved in this. And an overtime is sort of a different world. Everything settles down after you're all up and you're emotionally up and ready to do it. You haven't won it, you haven't lost it. Now you sort of have to cool it and start over.
Yeah, now we got to make a correction already. Going down through the rule book, it says the exception in preseason and regular season games, there'll be a maximum of 15 minutes of sudden death with 2 timeouts instead of 3. So it's 2 timeouts for each team in this 15-minute period, and that's as far as we'll go. If it's tied up at 15, that's the way it stands.
Okay, 2 timeouts. Started out, it was all Eagles. Then the second quarter was Redskins. Third quarter was Eagles. Fourth quarter was both teams battling pillar to post. And my gosh, they've come back, and Mosley nails it at the gun to get the tie. The last overtime that the Eagles were in, and the Redskins, 1976. Redskins 20, the Eagles 17 in 1976, right here at the vet. New team, new players, and Nelms is waiting for Tony Franklin. Boy, it's a good kick. Nelms takes the high kick at the 5. It's a good run back out to the 27, 28-yard line. That's good managing to start out there. It's good.
He has a knack of going into kind of a glide and then waiting to see where his crease is and really turn it on once he sees it. Nelms does on his kickoff returns. Average, so we said 29 yards on each kickoff return last season. Led the league. Pro Bowler 2 years in a row.
Boy, good skilled people at the positions. Riggins has had a good day, especially late, especially close. Theismann has been fantastic. Young Charlie Brown at defense for the Redskins. And the Eagles have had more than their share. How about the last catch by Harold Carmichael? Here's Theismann going quickly on the stutter play to Charlie Brown. He catches, fumbles the ball. I believe he recovers his own fumble. Let's see. The Redskin bench will give you the signal. The clock is still running. Charlie Brown caught it, almost lost it.
Still managed to gain a few yards. So their philosophy, they're not going to try to get it down and running, are they? Come right out throwing. Edwards got in there and punched that ball out. And Brown came back and got it.
2nd and 6. Place is buzzing. Overtime. Here's the screen to the right side. That's Art Monk being pulled out from behind by John Bunning. A great defensive play by the veteran linebacker. What a play by 95.
Well, there's got a guy playing behind him, Bunning does, by the name of Reggie Wilkes, who they say is bigger, stronger, faster than Bunning, but they're reluctant to put him in there because Bunning is like having a coach on the field in that huddle, getting the team moved. Especially important now with teams like you're seeing today, the Redskins, who change formations and go in motion and show you 3 or 4 things. Each time they do that, there has to be a change in the defensive calls. Bunning is the guy that gets them out.
The recognition factor, you're right, how important it is. 3rd down and 5. 33. Here's the inside handoff. Clarence Harmon, he's got the first down out to the 40-yard line. He stretched to get it. Ray Ellis just couldn't keep him from getting the first.
Clarence Harmon been a key player for the Redskins today. Much like Canfield has for the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming in spot situations and getting the job done.
A lot of specialization these days, isn't it?
Yeah, starting lineups really don't mean much anymore, do they?
The 40-yard line. 13 minutes left in the overtime period. Handoff. Clarence Harmon picks up about 3.5, and I believe the flags are down. We're going to get a holding call here.
Looks like it might be in that area.
I didn't think you could hold on offense anymore. They let them do almost anything but the stranglehold.
Especially on a run.
Yeah, that's right. Remember, I asked Richie Pettibone and Marion Campbell, both defensive people, what's the biggest rule change? He said the offensive blocking.
Number 53. First down.
Jeff Bostic, the center.
Pick it up to man in front of Theismann.
Boy, that's no crime. You know it. It's no crime to be called for that.
No.
You're allowed to get away with it for about 60 other plays. 12:51 left. This is turnover time. You got to be careful on offense now. 1st and 20. Theismann back. Across the middle. Art Monk has it. Oh, Art Monk gets around the outside of Robinson and into Eagle territory. He's knocked out at the 41. What a play by Monk. Bree Wilson knocking him out.
Historically, crossing patterns will just kill you on defense.
Was there a pick in there so that he looks like he scraped somebody off?
You get so many of them now with 2 and 3 receivers on one side of the field, and we'll see if we can pick it up here. Once again, good protection for Theismann, and they had a blitz on. Bunning was coming in, kind of threw under the coverage, and Monk makes a good run. He put a juke over on that side by Jerry Robinson and got some more yardage.
And Warren, the tight end, came out and took a linebacker out of there and sort of allowed that space, the vacuum to be created there. Riggins is in. A big first down. 26-yard aerial. Riggins gets it inside the Eagle 40. We just saw Mosley. You know what the range we're talking about is. Well, Master made that tackle. There are the plays, and they have not been conservative in this overtime.
See the call right there. That's too complicated for me.
Wow. Looks like he's making an omelet. A little stirry here, a little something up there.
With all those motions, and this is a run, I'm really going to be baffled.
out and 7. Good pass protection. Oh. Tremendous tackle. Good defensive play by Richard Blackmore on Williams, the 246-pounder. Blackmore, 180, huh?
The nickelback. And Williams has taken a couple of hits today.
Don't forget the U.S. Open Tennis Finals for men. Ivan Lendl, the money man, against Jimmy Connors, who has 3 U.S. Opens already to his credit. Right here on CBS. They are probably watching this contest. Okay, 3rd down. This could be the ball game. There's 11:13 left on the clock in overtime. This is a big play here. Semi-roll, the sprint's on. Logan comes in and, oh, a gamble by Herm Edwards. I can't see who made the catch. Edwards gambled on the INT, the interception.
I think it was Art Monk.
Art Monk. What a catch it is, Monk. Edwards went for it and got a little of the ball, but didn't knock it away.
Once again, Theismann's feet made this play. Watch the nifty quarterback. What a great athlete he is. I want to make something out of nothing right here. See him wheel out of there. Now here's Monk on the isolate. Edwards went for the ball. Herman Edwards, number 46. And then this guy turns in a pretty good run. Watch him cover up down here when the Eagles show up.
Okay, Mosley and Theismann. They're at the 15-yard line, or 16-yard line, a 26-yard field goal. It's over. The Redskins have won this 37-34 in overtime, a 10-13 clocking in the overtime, and you bet you they're happy, and you better believe the Eagles are plenty hot.
Coach Gibbs' theory, by going for it right then, Brookie, there's no use taking a chance on a fumble or something bad happening to your team, a penalty. You get down there that close, you might as well let your field goal kicker, if you have confidence in him, get it through there and get you the win.
Gibbs is happy. What an opening day. The team that nobody thought was going to be alive a year ago, and here's Mosley, the old-timer, battling for his life, kicks it through after tying it up as the clock ran out.
I think they'll keep Mosley around for another week now.
I think he's got a chance.
Are you kidding me? A great effort. He knew it there, too.
Theismann just short of 300. He was just short of 400 yards. He had 382 and 3 touchdowns, 28 of 39. And I'll tell you, there's nothing cheap when you beat the league's best defense.
No, I'll tell you, this was a fine football game this afternoon. It was a great win for the Washington Redskins, and they can be very proud of it. Philadelphia can be proud of the way they played, particularly offensively today. And I don't think Dick Vermeil has to worry about the intensity problem on his team.
You know who beat the Eagles in '76 in that overtime?
Tell me.
Mark Mosley.
He's been there before.
Some things never change. This is Tom Brookshire for Wayne Walker saying goodbye from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the final score was, and inhale a little bit, was Washington 37, Philadelphia 34 in overtime. Don't forget the U.S. Open Men's Tennis Finals following immediately. Jimmy Connors against Ivan Lendl right after this word from your local station. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage